And here we are, TGIF. How's everyone doing? It's good to see everyone. I had court canceled this morning and a Zoom meeting with a client actually get continued to next week. So I thought I'd jump online. With you guys and invite you guys in and talk about business, talk about the law, talk about COVID-19 business related issues, whatever's on your mind. I want to bring you guys in. If you guys know me, if you guys want to jump in with me right now on live video, I want you to reach out and message me. Share this link, okay, whether you're watching this on YouTube, Twitter, Periscope, one of the Facebook pages. If you're not sure where to watch this, jump over to mitchjackson.live, that Facebook page. We're going to have live interaction. Thanks for the thumbs up. Appreciate it. And basically, there's no hard stop. I might go for an hour. I might go for 4 hours. And I want you guys to come in. I want you guys to come in and join me. If you're friends of mine, jump in and say hi. And let's talk business, law, entrepreneurship, social media. Let's talk platforms. If you don't know me, but you'd like to meet me and you want to jump in and connect, all I want you to do is just send me a message in the comments. Hey, Mitch, I'd love to come on and say hi. I'd love to come on and share some thoughts. You can connect with me on most of the social media channels at mitch.social. Okay, so whether you're DMing me on Twitter or shooting me an email or private messaging me on Facebook, reach out. If you're in the comments and you want to join me, just let me know. I'm monitoring the comments and hopefully we can connect. I want to bring you in. I want to have a chat with you and I want to have some fun. So while everyone is joining us, while people are sharing this out, you know, these are crazy times, right? These are crazy times. And some of us have been in business longer than others. Some of us have been through other waves of challenges and pros and cons and things like this. Don McClure says, hey, we really need the drone video. Yeah, the drone video is actually on the way. It's charging up as we speak, Don. So it's good to see you. Join me live if you want to say hi. Don's an attorney out of Texas. And we've got the always impressive Mike Alton, who is one of my go-to social media experts, also a heck of a blogger and nice guy and key component to the whole Agora Pulse platform, which, by the way, Mike, one of the things I'm going to be doing is talking a little bit about Agora Pulse today. So that should be interesting. Once again, you guys, I want to invite you to come in, join me live. Let me know where you're watching today's show from. Okay, what platform are you on and where are you watching today's show from? I'm curious. Let me go ahead and get rid of this annoying ticker and everyone knows my name. And you know, why don't we start off with Agora Pulse? I mean, seriously, what I want to do is I've got some time. I've got a fresh Coca-Cola right there. I'm going to get all jacked up and I want to bring you guys in. I want to bring you guys into chat. I want you guys to come in and just say hello, even if it's just for a couple of minutes. I'm going to talk about some legal things, some business things, some social media things, some platform-specific things, projects I have coming up. I'd rather talk about you and what you're doing and what you're working on and what are your challenges, what are your successes, what have you done completely away from the office. Definitely just come on in and say hi. Don is watching from his kitchen. Dude, I love that. You know, make me some lunch and bring it by. Definitely, because I don't know if I'm going anywhere. I'm actually going to run this stream for as long as I can and share as many different exciting things as I can. So when I look away, you guys, it's because I'm just bringing up a different tab. And why don't we start with Agora Pulse? And once again, you know, the topic can be anything you'd like, but what I want to do is let me bring up Agora Pulse, you guys. This is a pretty cool platform. And what I'm using is I'm actually using StreamYard right now to broadcast this out to YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Periscope. I've gone ahead and I've shared the one of the platform links on LinkedIn. I don't have LinkedIn Live yet, but when I do, hopefully in the next couple of weeks, this will broadcast live to LinkedIn Live. And what I'm also doing is I'm using Ecamm. I'm going to show you a little bit about Ecamm on how I'm using that. Now, listen, you guys, do me a favor, share this out with other people that are using social media and digital online to help their clients and customers to build their brands. Do me a favor and share this out to anyone who you think might benefit from some of the tools, some of the things we talk about, the mindset that we talk about when it comes to social media. And if you want to jump on with me, message me, and I will share a private link with you so that you can come in the green room and actually join me. But let's start off with Agora Pulse, you guys. This is a really cool platform. So let me bounce over to Agora Pulse and share what I like so much about this particular platform. For those of you that are with Agora Pulse, if you're brand ambassadors for Agora Pulse, if you like Agora Pulse, I'm not sharing my brand ambassador affiliate link or anything like this. Just go to agorapulse.com to check out the platform. But what I like about Agora Pulse is it allows me to schedule all my stuff on social media and have it go out during the next day, the next week, the next month, whatever it might be. But this is what the platform looks like. This is their homepage. They do make social media easier. And as you can tell, over 17,000 social media managers do use Agora Pulse. So we have that. One of my favorite things about Agora Pulse, you guys, let me come back just so we can just make eye contact here is, and by the way, join me. All right. Join me in the show. One of my favorite things about Agora Pulse is I like the fact that my inbox is all in one place. So when someone messages me on Twitter or Facebook or LinkedIn or Instagram, even YouTube, it brings in those messages into one spot. And so I just go to my Agora Pulse inbox, I click, and I can see who's communicating with me privately, and I can also see who's sharing or mentioning me on the different platforms. So it really saves me a lot of time. It's a super powerful platform that I highly recommend. And once again, I'm just going to have a conversation today and just share different platforms with you. So let me just go back to Agora Pulse. And once again, you guys, this is the homepage. It's agorapulse.com. Killer platform offering a lot of really neat services. And, that's what it's all about, right? Is shining a bright light on other people that are doing good things. So I've got people joining me over on YouTube. We've got some friends over on LinkedIn, Facebook groups, Facebook pages. Yeah, go ahead and please share this out if you would. I want to get some friends of mine and people to come in and join me on live video and, frankly, just chill out. It's been a long week, right? There's a lot going on, a lot to talk about. So what you guys noticed is, and what you may not know, I'm going to show you. And once again, I'm just hanging out today. This thing could go for a couple of hours. Okay, that's kind of where my head's at. I might actually take my phone and go out in the backyard with my son, and we may switch over to some live beer pong. Okay, if not in this broadcast, then maybe later on today. Hey, a lot of you don't know, at the beginning of the show, I shared some pictures of my book, The Ultimate Guide to Social Media. And what you may not know is there's two different covers on the book. We've got the original cover, no suit and tie. There you go. The original cover was actually more of a purple. It didn't come out the way we wanted to. And this came up. And by the way, I'll share a link on Amazon. It's available in Kindle, Audible, and then paperback. But you can see we've got my mug on this picture. But then look at this. They brought it out again with the old lawyer suit and tie. I like the first one better, okay, but they were cleaning up the color of the book. And check this out. Look at this. These are notes. These are notes for the next edition, you guys. Okay, this book, first of all, let me show you these notes because I'm going to put this down. It's a mess. Okay, never stop learning. Okay, never stop raising the bar. Never stop improving what you're doing. Social media is changing every day like this, right? And I want to make sure that the information in my book is as current today as it was a year ago when the book came out. And frankly, it is. The only thing that's not in this book is TikTok. Everything else in this book is more relevant today than it ever was. Couple of quick things, you guys. And by the way, I want to invite you to join me on the show. Message me and I'll bring you in. A couple of things which are interesting. You're going to see some notes. These notes are handwritten notes from 20 years ago. They're handwritten notes from 20 years ago about investment, compound interest, different ways to maximize your profits and income. I came across these, as many of you are, COVID-19, cleaning the house, cleaning the garage. In my case, cleaning the man cage, man cave, man cage. Maybe it is a man cage, right? And I came across a box of old notes and old books that I was studying 20 years ago. And some of this stuff is really, really applicable to what a lot of you are doing online when it comes to doing business. And so I'm going to include some of these old tips and approaches and resources in the book. If you guys want to grab the book, let me stop the screen share. Let me come back. I want to just share on Amazon. This is kind of fun playing around with StreamYard, so thanks for bearing with me. But this is the book on Amazon. It's the ultimate guide to social media for business owners, professionals, and entrepreneurs. We've gotten 5 stars in ratings, so that's kind of cool. I'm going to check the comments in just a second, you guys. I'm in a different screen. Check out the ratings. I'm super proud of the book. And the reason I'm super proud of the book is not only is it available in paperback, but we had a professional read for the Audible, and Rich Miller did such a great job. Okay, I don't even like listening to my own voice, but Rich has one of those voices where it's awesome. And so Rich actually read the book for Audible, and then we have the Kindle version. The reason I can kind of toot my horn on this book, you guys, let me come back real quick, is because, okay, let me come back. Let's get rid of that one. That's my working copy. The one reason I can toot my horn, you guys, is I've got 46 experts from around the world that contributed chapters in the book, right? An expert on LinkedIn, an expert on Twitter, an expert on Facebook Live, everything you can think of. I've got friends who contributed to the book. So I have no problem with telling you this is a great book, because out of the 52 chapters, I wrote, I think 8 of them, and the other chapters were written by friends of mine from around the world. And it's awesome. The book's broken down into 3 sections. And by the way, I'll be checking comments. Like I said, I want you guys to come on in. Yeah, live beer pong. That's right. Hey, Tim, it's good to see you. Join me if you want to jump on, you guys. Just let me know and I'll send you a link in the appropriate private message. But here's the thing. In the book, what we did is we broke this book down into 3 sections on social media. And I think it's critically important you guys understand. Most of you do. But for new business owners who are migrating to the cloud, migrating to digital, there are 3 sections on this book that are critically important. The first section is the mindset of social media. And this isn't about my book today, you guys. I want to talk about anything that comes up, all right? While you guys are coming in, I am basically going through some things that are on my mind. Some will be law, some will be digital, some will be platforms. I talked about Agora Pulse. But in the book, there's 3 sections. There's 3 approaches to social media, you guys, that you got to know. Number 1 is the mindset. Understand the mindset of social media. Number 2, understand the personalities of the platforms. And number 3, understand how to communicate on the social media platforms. If you can get those 3 things down and not skip any of those 3 things, mindset, you have to have a giving mentality. 2, personality of the social media platforms. Each platform's different. 3, understanding how to communicate, different ways to anchor people, different ways to immediately grab people's attention, like I did at the beginning of this video, of this live video, with a little 2-minute video, right, while we were setting things up. Check this out. And it's my book, and I've been writing in it. But let me show you something. Look at these chapters, you guys. This is the first set, part 1, the social media mindset. Bob Berg, Kim Garst, Brian Kramer, a lot of really amazing people, Shama Hyder and everybody else in between, shared chapters in the first section. The second section, part 2, how to use the social media platforms, which talks about the personality of the platforms. Chris Brogan and others contributed. This is still just section 2, you guys. Look at this. Section 2, section 2. You can see I'm still taking notes, which is kind of cool. And then section 3 starts at the bottom. I think it's about 15 pages long. Section 3. So there's a lot of stuff here. A lot of stuff in here that I think is going to save a lot of people a lot of time. And I hope you guys enjoy the book as much as I do. Let me check some messages because I do want to invite you guys to come in. I'll send you a private message. And let's see here. Let's see here. Tim, it's been a long time since I've seen you. I think those were the old Blab days. Absolutely. So let me, Tim, actually grab the link to invite someone in. I need to set this up, and I'm not going anywhere, you guys. I'm going to be around for a while today. We're going to keep this broadcast going. So Tim, I am going to, in Facebook Messenger. And by the way, you guys, I also want to talk about the new Facebook rooms. I want to talk about Google Meet and some other things. So it should be a fun day. Let me go ahead, Tim, and send a personal invite over to you. And let's see if this works. So when I invite you guys in, what's going to happen is you're going to come into the green room. You're not going to immediately be live. So don't worry about that. And I'll give you a heads up because I've got a couple of you bouncing in and out. I'll give you a heads up before I bring you in live. So there are no unpleasant surprises. But, you know, I want to just say hi to everybody and let everyone know find out how you're doing. What have you been working on? What are some of the projects you've been working on? All of these things, I think, are super important, super fun. And Tim, I see you in the green room. And when you're ready, just give me a thumbs up and I will bring you in. Definitely. All right, you got it. So you guys, Tim Gillette, let me bring Tim in. Boom, boom.
Mr. Mitch Jackson, the streaming lawyer. What's up, buddy?
You know, it's only been a couple of years, hasn't it?
I know. It seems like forever.
So wait a minute. What's going on? Last time I saw you, your hair was twice as long as it is now. And you're supposed to have longer hair now that we're social distancing. So what's going on?
Well, I changed my brand to be Simple Easy Marketing. And I did my conference last week virtual and cut it. The day before my event, I went over to my hairstylist's house in secret and paid her cash. I'm not going to tell you who she is. And she cut it all off. So
well, you look fantastic, and it's good to see you. And thanks for bopping on. Yeah, you know, I just figured like we used to back in the old Spreecast and Blab days. It's time just to go live, zero prep, and just see who wants to chat, who wants to talk, and frankly, find out what everyone else is up to.
Yeah. Are you? I mean, you're not even going to the office right now. You're still working from the house, right? Are you?
Yeah, the whole firm. We are all working from home. I'm going in a couple times a week to grab the mail. Usually about 8 or 9 at night. It's a big building, you know, and so the last month or so when I've gone in, haven't run into anybody. I'm doing the full mask, gloves, glasses, taking this whole thing pretty seriously, and so is the staff. But, you know, Tim, we moved to the cloud about 10 years ago. And, you know, other than a couple of little minor speed bumps, we've been able to allocate all of our resources to helping the client. So it's been something that we've been able to do. How about you? I mean, this is something that probably was a natural transition. You've always been online, right?
I've always been online, past 5 years at least. The only hard part about it is when my wife and I got this condo 2 years ago, what is now my office. It's not doors. It's like a balcony area over the thing. So she's having to work from home. And two of us streaming and talking can be loud in here at times.
Well, is it just the two of you at home right now?
Yeah, it's just the two of us. All of our kids are grown and up and gone. But I mean, it's, you know, when we bought the condo, we figured it was, you know, me officing from here and her officing from the office. And this changed the whole dynamic for our work situation. So,
well, I was talking with someone the other day and was making the argument that, you know, I was around doing business, Tim, before the internet as we know it, right? Started in 1986. So fax machines were a big deal.
Yeah.
Back in the day, right? So yeah, internet's changed everything. I get it, but I almost feel like the last 2 months of how we're doing business, of working from home, of being more aware of, you know, social distancing and just being careful with what we do. I would make the argument that what we're going through right now is going to be a huge change and a permanent change for how we do business as human beings.
I think this is going to be even more of a change to business than 9/11 was. I firmly believe that it's going to be even more of an impact on our world than 9/11. And like this morning, we were trying out Facebook messengers with a couple of old lab guys and talking to Nazim. I think you know Nazim from over in Italy.
Yes,
you know what I mean? And he's just telling us what goes on over there. All right, which they got hit before we got hit. So I mean, it's just, you know, when he's telling us, you know what I mean, what he's able to do now because of the internet, because of things getting opened up because of this. He's watching like all the American sitcoms that he doesn't see over there in Italy. And he's like, oh my God, I'm able to open and tune in to get them all. And I'm like, it's going to change our world.
And his feet are on the ground, you know, in a spot on the other side of the world that's been hit hard.
Yeah.
Early. And you know, what's interesting, Tim, is when you mentioned Nazim, what a small world this is on social media, you guys, because I had a client in Orange County, which is where our law firm's located, who we were able to help. And I'm going to say probably 3 to 4 years later, I get a message. And long story short, the two of them are friends. I mean, they're friends, which had nothing to do with me representing him as a lawyer and a client. And yeah, it's just a small world. What did you think of Facebook rooms?
The messenger room, well, I mean, I don't know whether it's Facebook or something this morning, but I'm getting a couple like tinniness into the conversation. So like every now and then, like, you know, there's 4 of us in the room and it would skip out. Really? And I don't know whether it's my internet connection or what it is today. And it could be. I mean, it could just, you know, I mean, we get good days and bad days with connections. But the concept in itself, I kind of like it. I think it's, you know what I mean? It's going to be something that's different than Zoom. I think they're trying to give an alternative to Zoom. I don't know if they're going to broadcast it though or not. I don't know. You know, I mean, you know, maybe you might have seen more in that, whether they're going to make it a broadcast or just a private place to chat.
Yeah, I don't know. I do know that they definitely, just like Google Meet, want to make sure that they don't become the blockbuster of live video.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, this is just so. I was watching Steve Dotto's overview last night, and I shared it in my mastermind this morning of Google Meet, which, if everyone that's watching live or recorded, is kind of like the Google version of Zoom.
Yeah.
And it's pretty slick. It's pretty easy to use. There's not a lot of options, so it's kind of hard to screw it up, which is good for people like me and my friends. It doesn't have all the bells and whistles that Zoom has yet, but it's an interesting platform. I think they're onto something.
Well, I mean, I remember the first, my brother lives in New Zealand, and he's lived overseas probably 15 years now. And the first tools that we used to communicate with him was Google Voice. And we used to actually do Google Voice with the laptop. I didn't use the phone. Basically, I had my laptop in the old days. I'd have it on. I'd walk throughout the house and talk to him. And same thing. And Google Voice was the cool thing back then. And then like the mainstream of live streaming started with Google Hangouts. So, you know, and now, you know, Facebook's trying to catch up to them. But to me, Google's always been in the forefront. You know what I mean? I
do. And like you said, though, the Google Hangouts always had an issue. An ease of use issue. Just finding the link to share with a guest, finding a link to share with your audience was a challenge back in the day. But I liked it because I was using Google Glass, you know, those funky.
I remember the Glass.
Yeah. And back in the day, the live video platform that we could connect to through Wi-Fi was Google Hangouts. That's what Glass was designed around. And it didn't work very well very often, but when it did, it was pretty cool. It was a pretty cool.
Well, it's always the first version of anything that's not going to be the most perfect. I mean, you got to think about that. I mean, come on, how long? We you and I have both been in and around this for a few years now, and we've always seen the first version always is okay, we're going to try this. And in most cases, the first version is usually the second version gone. Like, remember Meerkat? Meerkat was like the second one gone. They were the first out and they were the second gone.
Oh, man. I remember that, you know, and I remember everybody. Yeah. I mean, and it was cool learning how to use live video with Meerkat, learning how to use it from this thing right here, right? Which I've got plugged in because I didn't charge it last night. And yeah, I mean, it's just, listen, you guys, I want you guys share this out if you would, please. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to kick the tires on a Friday early morning. Well,
Early morning
here,
for you. It's afternoon for me, dude.
Yeah, I was just going to say afternoon on the East Coast. And Tim, is just someone that we met years ago on the earlier live video, platforms. And I'm not going anywhere. So if you guys want to jump on, just like Tim, I don't want you to go anywhere, but if you guys want to jump on just like Tim did, it's super easy. Just message me either over in the chat or private message me. I'll send you a super secret private link and you can come in and chat. Tim, so tell me what you're doing right now. You've got a marketing company, and what's your ideal client, and what are you doing right now to help companies move forward?
So yeah, I've spawned out to help a couple retail type things over the last couple months with all this, but I've always helped the person who uses content to market their business. So that would be the podcaster, the live streamer, the blogger, all right, the vlogger, if you want. And I've always helped them use that as the medium to market their business. And the idea behind everything we do is, what are you saying? Sales copy type format, all right? The words you say is going to implement whether they want to do business with you. And so often people get into the content creation game and they just want to play the SEO game. And that's the only game they want to play. Let me get high up on SEO. Well, Great. All right. That's a great trick while the SEO for that keyword works. What happens 3 months from now when they change the algorithm? So we're always getting people in the habit of what you're saying is going to market your business. Been working this about 10 years now. I work with entrepreneurs. I work with a lot of people who are both online and offline. Do 2 conferences a year and 12 virtuals a year. So.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Wow. Well, so if you don't mind me asking, SEO as it might apply to social media, traditional SEO still important, or do you look at other factors?
It is very important, and don't, when I talk down SEO, I'm by no means am I putting it out. All right. It is still very important when you create your content to be conscious of what your people are searching for, but don't think of it in terms of, let me get the right search term, get it in the idea, get in your mindset. How do I get traffic to view me? And I do this analogy when I speak at events, Mitch, and I talk about, when I go to the mall one day and I'm going to Macy's at the mall. And I'm walking through the mall, heading towards Macy's. I can see the Macy's sign, and all of a sudden, this guy from a kiosk stand jumps out and squirts lotion on my hands. All right. This guy, all right, has traffic walking by him all day long. He's in the perfect spot, and that's what everybody's trying to do with the SEO. They're trying to be in the perfect spot for that traffic that comes by, but the traffic ain't there for you. It's on its way to Macy's. Now, I'm going to Macy's because Macy's has been marketing to me and my family and my mother and my grandmother and my great-grandmother since the 1900 something. It's a marketing game. You need to learn how to market. Now, in the beginning, you got to play tricks to be, the guy at the kiosk to get your business. But start building long-term so that 100 years from now, people are coming to see you and walking by the kiosk stand, not you're still the kiosk stand. And so often SEO practices are the kiosk stand, and that's all they teach. Yes, important, not disqualifying it at all, but it should be about getting traffic to your site, getting eyes in front of your social media posts, getting eyes in front of your live streams. Hey, Mia Voss is in the room now. But that's always been my thing. I never focus on what one way can I do to get 1,000 people to view my blog. Instead, what's 1,000 ways I can get one person to view my blog? And I'm always thinking of the next one,
It's all about the quality, right? Yeah. The quality of the relationships, the quality of the contacts. I mean, speaking of quality, Mia Voss is in the house. Mia, if you want to join us, just let me know over the comments and I'll shoot you our super secret private link on Facebook Message or whatever platform you want. How
are you liking this, by the way, StreamYard? But go ahead.
Well, so 2 things. What I was going to say is hang on a second. Let me back this off real quick. Hang on. Let me just get rid of that. There we go. I'm liking it. I think it's pretty cool. What I was going to say real quick, and at my age, Tim, I'll forget if I don't talk about this, is it's interesting what you talked about with the COVID, with the kiosk example. Mm-hmm. We've got someone saying hi from Australia. What's going on, Wissam? It's good to see you. Thank you for joining us. And share this out, you guys. And Mia, I'd love to have you on if you have a couple of minutes. I'm not going anywhere. We're talking about reopening the doors for small business owners in the community. What should they be doing? Whether they should be putting signage up, maybe some warnings, maybe showing the general public what precautions they're taking, like you talked about a little bit earlier when you got your haircut. And, I had someone say, well, Mitch, it might scare my customers off if I have a sign out front that, maybe it's a warning, maybe it's just, hey, we're using best practices. Come on in, and we think it's safe. Whatever the signage is. But you made a good point. In the communities, we are all devoted to local coffee shops, local hair salons, local restaurants. A sign isn't going to keep me from walking in the front door. A sign is going to let me know that somebody's actually paying attention to issues that maybe they're not concerned with, but other consumers are. And so it's building those long-term relationships, I think, that's really, really important. I like StreamYard. Tim, I think this is pretty cool. For those of you that aren't familiar with StreamYard, this allows us to do what we're doing right now. And it also allows us to bring in, which is kind of cool, different banners. You can set up ahead of time. Okay, I'm just randomly picking the ones that I've got set up. Tim and I can share websites. We can share our desktops. Let me bounce this out. We're broadcasting simultaneously to multiple platforms. In my case, YouTube, Twitter, Periscope, not LinkedIn yet, but soon. A couple of different Facebook pages, just with the click of a button. And then it's recorded. And you can take that recorded show and you can repurpose it in many different ways, as Tim knows this, but this is for our viewers.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly what I do.
So I like it. I think it's pretty powerful. What do you think?
I love it. I tried Be Live. I tried a lot of things after Blab, and StreamYard was the one I fell in love with. And it was the first one, because now we go try out the trial 14 days or whatever it is and see if we like it. And then if you like it, you upgrade. StreamYard was the first one that I tried it. Within 7 days, I upgraded to the first version.
Oh, you did?
Upgraded to the second version within 30 days. I liked it so much. I went up all the way. All right. Every other one, I'd try it and go, not ready to dish out $20 or whatever it was a month yet. And I would back off. StreamYard was just, I went all in and said, this is just something that works for me. And, I was recording I was recording my podcasts on Zoom and then broadcasting them on Facebook. That was before the Zoom link made it easy. But then I would have to then upload it to YouTube later. This here, I'm broadcasting both right to YouTube and Facebook. So it's on my YouTube channel. And then I've got the audio video, and immediately within a couple of days, I have the audio up on Anchor FM and out to all my broadcasting areas. So, I love it, how fast I can move with it.
So since I've got a marketing expert on that knows StreamYard a lot better than I do, you just said a couple of things. If you don't mind, maybe I can bounce some questions your way.
Sure.
And along those same lines, Tim, when I broadcast, and this is going to one of my YouTube channels also. And so if someone has subscribed to that YouTube channel, I just hit 3,000 last week on this one channel, which is kind of cool. Are they notified when that live video, when I went live this morning, were they notified that there's a live YouTube video going on in that channel, or do they have to stop by and check it out?
I'm going to have to go check into that. I don't know that because I'm not an expert in YouTube, man. YouTube is my nemesis that I'm still always learning on. Me too. I've got Facebook video down, but YouTube is.
But Facebook, if people, so on YouTube, I guess here's my challenge with StreamYard and YouTube, and I'm still trying to figure this out, is does it go live and does it notify everybody when I go live? Number one. Number two, it seems as though it's hard to find the recorded live video after the fact. It seems like it takes maybe 15 or 20 minutes to eventually show up in the feed. And I don't know.
I've been doing like my Tim Gillette show. I do on YouTube. I go in the next day. So like the next morning I go in and I go, everyone I recorded the previous day, I put them up, and my Tim Gillette show is the first banner of playlist on my YouTube channel. So immediately, like if I did 5 recordings the day before, I put all 5 of those up the next day. They're the top thing on my. So that's the one way I knew I got it up, and I didn't go immediately. I went the next day to do it.
So so the next day it's there.
Yeah.
But after the show, I couldn't find it. But I think Chris Green, by the way, Chris Green,
Chris.
He was one of the first individuals, I'm going to say like 10 years ago. And Chris, correct me if I'm wrong, but I just, for some reason, I remember you being one of the first individuals I think I connected with on Facebook, if I'm not mistaken, back in the day. Maybe it was Blab or maybe it was another platform. But anyway, it's good to see you, Chris. But Chris shares, they don't necessarily get notified unless they hit the bell. So when you're doing YouTube videos, you guys, that's why you hear YouTube people say, hit the bell, subscribe, share it out. There's a reason for that. And let me see. Otherwise, hang on. Otherwise, it's limited in how many subscribers get the notification or recommendation. That's why YouTube, man, way back in the day. Spreecast.
Yeah, Spreecast. That's where he's seen it from,
So speaking of Spreecast, what's kind of cool, you guys, is do you mind if I just show something real quick, Tim?
Go ahead, man. It's your show, buddy. I'm here to help.
Yeah, but you're my wingman right now, and I'm appreciated. This is cool. So I'm going to show you guys, I'm going to share the screen. I want to show you guys something that I'm doing because it relates to something to do with Spreecast. So Tim, I've got a new Wednesday night show. And it is been out for about a month. Let me go ahead and bring this up big. And it's basically for lawyers. It's Wednesday night legal marketing for lawyers, okay? But what I'm doing is I wanted to take advantage of, we have a lot of mutual friends that are very well-known keynote speakers who are not speaking right now. We've got a lot of people that are home right now and available to do interviews. So what I'm doing is I'm interviewing someone new each Wednesday night. It's 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, and it's focused on really sharing a social media marketing, branding, relationship building tip for lawyers. And Brian Fanza was my guest last Wednesday, and we talked about creating virtual presentations and things like that. But here's what I'm getting at, you guys. I've got some amazing guests coming up. We've got Jack Newton coming up this Wednesday, who's the co-founder of Clio, which is one of the most well-known lawyer case management software, customer relationship tools out there. But he also wrote a great book, The Client-Centered Law Firm, How to Succeed in an Experience-Driven World. We got Bob Berg coming up, Bella Vasta, Mark Schaefer, Jay Baer, Rebecca Radice. But the reason I'm bringing this up, Tim, is I reached out to Jeff Floor, who, come back to you, is the founder of Spreecast, to be on the show. That's what I'm getting at. Boy, you ask, for a lawyer to say something, we got to shorten and get right to the point, right? So for those of you that don't know Jeff, here's the thing. Jeff was the co-founder of StubHub after graduating from Stanford and sold StubHub, I think it was to eBay, if I'm not mistaken, and then retired for a couple of years and then realized back in the day we didn't have live video on social media. So he created this company called Spreecast. It was ahead of its time because we had 3G back then on our phones. So you couldn't do this with 3G in a very effective way. And so he set up Spreecast, and that's where a lot of us originally met. It was 2011, 2012, 2013. And the cool thing about Spreecast is it really allowed us to connect with other people who we might otherwise not have connected with, who wanted to also jump into live video and test it out. People like Anderson Cooper, Katie Couric, Peter Diamandis, a lot of Gary Vaynerchuk stuff back in the day on Spreecast. And it was just the first platform like this where we could all just jump in and engage. I had one show, Tim, I don't know if you know this, where we did a show during the morning. That night, a friend of mine called me at the house, Mitch, I just saw you on TMZ.
Yeah.
They took something we talked about and it was on TMZ, right? And so everybody was watching these platforms, like what's the future of live video? And wow, so Chris, that brings back a lot of memories. But I also reached out to Jeff Floor, you guys, to get him on the Wednesday night show because Jeff, connect with him on LinkedIn, everybody. He just shared an article about startups and venture capital in a COVID-19 world. Okay. And it's a very well written article. So if you guys want to really, see what the players are talking about and doing right now, and being proactive, that's someone to follow. So hopefully Jeff will make it over to the show. So that'll be cool.
Yeah, and I noticed you get Bob. Now I've had Bob. I think he's the only person that's been on my radio show 3 times. On all 3, and I'm going to have him again. I'm going to call him up and get him on again. It's just he's always a great guest to have on too. So,
but Bob Berg, Tim is referencing, is the co-author of the Go Giver and Go Giver series of books, and yeah, he's fantastic. As a matter of fact, Tim, he's so, you and I both know Bob is so good and so talented that the first chapter in the book
is Bob's.
I did an intro, which was the mindset of social media, the Go Giver way to enriching your practice by Bob Berg.
Yep.
Okay. And there's a reason why I made sure Bob's chapter started things off, because if you don't have that Go Giver mentality, especially on social, I think in life and business, right? Yeah. Especially on social media, it's not going to work out for you.
Yeah. There's a world for people who are go takers, and he's not. He's a giver. And, I remember the early days of trying to do stuff online. I was doing a radio show. I think I started on Blog Talk Radio, and Bob came on, and he was so gracious. I was a young kid trying to figure it out. I wasn't young. I'm in my 40s at the time, trying to figure it out. But he still came on, and he was gracious with anybody. All right. And he did interviews with almost everybody. I did him and Larry Wingett, I think, in the same month. Both great guys. So.
Yeah, I mean, just tapping into this technology is a great way to meet really interesting and fascinating people. And and I'm glad that we met. We met because of social, because of digital, because of live video. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. You guys, I want you guys to jump in if you want to. I'm going to keep rambling about lawyer stuff and legal stuff and everything else in between. Chris or Tim, what do you have going on, or any projects that you're working on right now? I'm assuming maybe you have a little free time to do some other things. Is there anything you're focusing on or pivoting?
So yeah, right now I am just now I'm going into a new season on my podcast. Is we just got done doing 100 interviews in 30 days, and we're going to do our new podcast. Is going to be up where people can you can go apply, and that is timgillette.com /podcast interview. Mitch, I would love to interview you on my show, but man, we interview people right now. We're interviewing those people who are dealing with tough times, entrepreneurs who dealt with tough times. So I don't have all the videos and everything up yet for it, but you can still go in and apply and get yourself on the calendar.
Is that the correct link right there?
Podcast interview, yeah. So yeah, and basically it's going to ask you for a website so I can go check you out, and then the other thing we do is we do a virtual event now every month with Simple Easy Marketing, and our next one's going to be June 6th. All right. And my name, timgillette.com /virtual, will tell you all about it. All right. We actually do something very unique with our virtual events is we broadcast them into a community. It's a community event. It's $20 to join the community, and $10 of it goes to a different charity every month. Oh, so nice. Last month we gave half of the money we raised for the people to join the community to a thing called Get Shift Done here in Dallas area, where they're actually paying shift workers to prep food at the food banks and keep people fed. And literally we do it. It's $20 to join the community. So you can come in one time and you're in the community for all the virtual events for life. But we do that to be able to raise money for a charity every month. So.
Well, do me a favor and share the link with me, once we're both off the air, and I'll turn around and help share it out with my community on social, Tim. It would be my pleasure.
Sure.
Definitely.
And we got to get you in to do one of the speaking slots in there, because come on, that's, live streaming lawyer is definitely something that's got to be, the legal aspects have to be brought up in these things we're doing every month. So, yeah.
It's a popular topic, definitely. And I know with the ECAM had a virtual summit, and that was something that they asked me to talk about as far as the ins and outs of the legal side to live streaming, right? What we all need to know when doing business on live streaming. And also Agora Pulse had a pretty extremely well watched, virtual conference. And that was the topic they asked me to reach out to. So Mia Voss goes, "Wow, Tim, how cool. Get Shift Done. Brilliant.
That wasn't my name. That's the name of the actual charity in Dallas. And I found them.
I love that.
Just by reaching out, and like we raised almost $500 for them actually on the broadcast, plus ticket sales was another 300. So we love doing it. And I've always believed in, if you're going to get education, you go to a conference. I don't believe in going to free conferences. I don't. As a matter of fact, I don't go to free networking events, nothing. If I go to, it's weird. I don't know if you're this way, Mitch, but in my town, if the networking I can get in for under $50, I don't go. I don't care if it's lunch, dinner, breakfast. If it's cheaper than $50, I don't go. I'm working with higher class people, and that's why I believe in investing in my business.
So along those same lines, I would suggest that what I do see people doing is spending so much time reading how-to books, watching how-to videos, and going to how-to conferences, regardless of the price. They spend more time doing all of that than they do executing and taking action.
Yeah.
Right. And so for me, it's not really a matter of what the price is. It's the quality of the event. Is there somebody there? And I know you feel the same way. Is there somebody there that either I want to learn from, or is it a networking and relationship building opportunity that, especially if I'm speaking from the stage, it gives me the opportunity, to have that perceived expertise, so that when I'm done, and I like to speak early in a conference and not on the last day and the last afternoon.
Well, I'll tell you mine in a minute. Yeah, but
get up there early. If I'm not keynoting, then being one of the early speakers, because then for the next 2 or 3 days, everyone feels like they know your story. They have questions about what you talked about, and it's just a great opportunity to build quality relationships. So for me, that's kind of what I focus on. But I will tell you, I don't like to travel. I don't like to be away from the family when I'm not practicing law. Or one of the reasons I like these types of applications, StreamYard and Zoom and Ecamm, is because it allows you and I to do this kind of stuff without having to travel to the other side of the country for 2 days. So
yeah. To me, I like to travel. As a matter of fact, the last place I was at, Mitch, was Orange County to speak. And that was March 8th. I spoke up in Orange County. But you know where my favorite spot to speak is at these conferences? Is right after lunch.
Oh, you're a brave man.
I wake the freaking room up right after lunch. I come in with a whole, my speech, now I'm here, I'm more calm. But if you see me in front of an audience, I am active. I want people to get so excited about. So conferences just started saying, Tim, we want you to be the after lunch speaker because you can raise the room back up.
So speaking tip, how do you make sure everyone is back in the room from lunch before they introduce you and you take the stage? Any tips for the rest of us?
I've never worried about them getting everybody back in the room. By the time I take the stage, people are like, "Oh crap, what's going on?" And they come running in because I am just so it's energetic, and I do a whole quiz thing, getting everybody on their feet and letting them. I like to see what the room has done in either live streaming, podcasting, or I actually do social media. I do 2 different quizzes. And one of the quizzes is about podcasting. It's like, so who in the room has a podcast or a live stream video? Stand up. All right. And if you don't have one,
do the stand up thing. Stand up.
Okay. If you don't have one, sit down. I get everybody on their feet. And the first thing I say is, if you have a podcast or a live stream video series, stay standing. If you don't, sit down. And then I explain to them, if you sit down, I said, right now, and if you're sitting down, all right, you're missing the most valuable broadcasting idea to get your message out right now. You're missing it. You're not even getting up, and it's cheap to get on and do it. Why aren't you doing it? And then I take it level by level and I go up with it. And that's like 10 minutes of a 30-minute speech. I will do that quiz because there's more learning in that when they realize, like you said, read a book and do it. No, I'm a guy who has to go screw up and figure out, oh crap, I screwed up. Let me fix that. There's more lessons in that 10 minutes than my entire talk. Because of the fact that I got, and I've had people, I spoke at an event in January up in Thousand Oaks, California. And my coach and mentor was at the event because he wanted to see me speak. He had never seen me speak at someone else's event. He stepped out of the room And I get back on stage like right after lunch, and he comes in 5 minutes late. He goes, "Oh crap, I missed it. I wanted to see how Tim started it because I heard his start." And I'm like, "Dude, I don't wait for people to come in the room. You're you're either going to be there or you're going to miss it. Which is it?" And I love creating that atmosphere because I want the person who put on the event. I want my speech to be so valuable. I don't like being praised and Tim, you're the greatest, but I want him to come back, the speaker, to go, "Man, you were the greatest speaker I have. I want you back again."
So let me ask you a question. First of all, you've always had energy. You've always had a dynamic personality. And I really mean this. I mean, I've watched you over the years, Tim, and I don't think we've ever met in real life. Have we ever met in real life?
No, we've not met in real life yet. I'm still waiting for that.
But multiple videos. Yeah. And that's what you want from the stage is you want that energy. You want that confidence. You want to get the audience involved. When you said stand up, I get that, right? I understand. You know, I've spoken twice at Tony Robbins as David Merriman Scott's guest, and I watch what they're doing. Not only David, but Robbins and everybody else on stage, and they get the audience pumped up, right? By the time I took the stage, I was sweating. And what a lot of people don't know is they had, for about 20 minutes, 3 or 4 people on stage jumping up and down, almost like aerobics to loud music, getting everybody pumped up. And then they had David come up, and then they had me come up. And it was the energy, right? That was my takeaway, like keep that energy going. Yeah. And it was a great reminder. Now, having said that, how are you taking what you used to do before COVID-19 and translating that virtually? I mean, that's why I had Brian Fanzo on the other night, was to share different techniques, different approaches, right?
Yeah. I know what Brian does too, yeah.
Is there still a keynote speaking career available out there, Tim? What do you think?
I'm actually like, you know, I'm doing this, I'm sitting down. As you see the black chair behind me, right? Yeah. When I'm doing like my event, I have a stool that might be here that I can move out of the way, and my desk rises up. I will stand. Like I'm speaking at an event tomorrow online for Joe Pardo out on the East Coast. I don't know if you know Joe. And I will, during my speech, I will stand the whole time. I will not be sitting down. Because it just, again, it raises my energy up. It makes me try to raise my tone up a little bit to become somewhat more active for those people. Just because they're stuck in their house doesn't mean they should get less. You know what I mean? I hate to say that, you know, I'm dancing, you know what I mean? Dancing for my money, but in a way I should still do some sort of the dance along with the education. And I'm
with you. I'm with you. But, you know, what's interesting is we're also limited by our environment at home or at the firm. We have one conference room. Excuse me. We have one conference room that's sanitized, that's available in an emergency. I don't even like broadcasting from it, Tim. We just want to stay out of it unless we absolutely need to be in that room for something. But there's a different dynamic that you have to, you know, it depends on what your environment is. Like I have I didn't tell Brian this. I've got a standing desk that I use in the office.
Brian has one too. I know Brian has one too.
He brought it up, right? And he likes to stand when he's speaking. And I like to stand for health reasons. And I get it. I'm also more energetic. I've got the, I think it's called a Veridesk.
Yeah, I've got mine's like an autonomous or something, or autonomous or something like that. Yeah, but yeah,
is it manual?
Yeah,
manual.
No, mine's button, electronic.
Nice.
I have 4 settings. I can push a button and go to 4 settings.
I mean, that's awesome technology. I will tell you, the manual, literally with 2 fingers, the way it's set up, it's almost like on a and so it's so easy to use, but it doesn't fit. We've already got our offices set up at the house. We always have had a downstairs office, upstairs bonus room, which is now kind of like the second office because Lisa and I work together. My partner's Lisa Wilson of Jackson Wilson. And there's just not enough room in this space to stand, right? And I wish there was. And so what Brian and I were talking about is you know, adapting to your environment, maximizing. One thing we do have, the space we have is what's around us right now, you and I both. So like using templates, I think what's kind of cool, and I'm curious if you're using templates in StreamYard, but for example, you guys, I'm using, wow, it looks like I'm using an old template here, not even my new one. You can see how I just brought up the default StreamYard template, just to show everyone where it puts information below Tim, above me. Let me see. Okay, there we go. So that's like a default template for shows that I use. You can do all of these things. And check this out, Tim, using Ecamm. And I know you know this, but
I use Ecamm too, yeah.
so a lot of people who follow me are just now appreciating the power of live video, like over the last 2 months, we all know. All right, but check this out, you guys. So I can go over to Ecamm and let me bring up Talk Like TED. And so what I've done, hang on, let me come back, is I've taken, is that displaying in StreamYard, Tim?
Yeah, it is. So it's covering your face now. Yeah.
Yeah, which is fine. This is much more enjoyable to look at than my face. But Carmine Gallo, you guys, was one of the contributing authors in my book. He interviewed a couple of hundred TED speakers, what made them great. And then he shared a chapter in the book, how to use these same approaches when communicating on social media. But the point is, there's something dynamic about showing overlays when you're speaking. I gave a presentation a couple weeks ago, Tim, to trial lawyers on effective communication techniques. This book right here, How to Argue and Win Every Time, what Jerry basically talks about is telling stories and speaking from the heart. And he's been advocating that, long before social media came around. Bob Berg, you and I brought up.
Yeah, Bob.
Adversaries into Allies. I tell Bob, this is one of my favorite books of all time. And, everyone knows Bob from The Go-Giver.
Yeah.
This book right here, when young lawyers want to have me mentor them, which I love to do, on trial advocacy skills. How do you give a good opening statement? How do you give a closing argument that empowers the jury to go back into the deliberation room and come back with a verdict that you're asking them to render for your client? It's all this stuff. It's people skills. That's what this is about. It's a people skills book. I won't even mentor them until they've read this book. That's how powerful
that's awesome.
Book is. Yeah, it's awesome, and Bob knows I feel that way about the book. But the reason I'm bringing these things up is not only are they great tools, but what I just did. Like, I'm trying to show you guys, if I can use this technology to kind of pop, a live stream, you can too. And
that's it. I always teach in content creation that 3 things you got to do. Number 1, you got to get attention. Number 2, you've got to give such value that it's just worth it watching it by itself. And then you got to give a call to action. All right. If you're not going to lead them to do something to better their life, all right, it doesn't mean you have to sell them something. You just have to give something to better their life. You're not willing to do that. Why are you doing the live streaming? So
great. Can you go through those 3? Can you go through those 3 again?
Yeah, number 1, you've got to get their attention. I call it, the what do they call it? That the break, pattern interrupt. You got to interrupt their pattern. All right. They've got 1 million people broadcasting on them right now. And you got to do something to make yours stand out, to make them want to stop and see you. Mitch did something that made me want to stop and see him today. Number 2, after Mitch has got me on here, I'm listening. Now Mitch has got to give me value. All right. Just listening alone is such value that it's worth it by itself. All right. So many people, they don't get all 3 of these elements together. They either they get people's attention, then they don't give them value, or they get people's attention and sell them and don't give them value. They don't get their attention, but they give value and never sell. There's a combination. But the third one is you've got to give a call to action. And a call to action for me, and Mitch, I'm not doing this to do. I have a website that I use for my call to action. It's called simpleeasybranding.com. And if I can't think of anything else to make my call to action, I use that and go, hey, go to my website. It's simpleeasybranding.com. I've put a training video up there. You don't have to opt in for, and I've got the whole line down. You just walked your talk. You just showed us how to do it.
Yeah. That's how you do it. It's very subtle. It's telling a story. It's shining a light on other people while you're telling your story. And the call to action, Tim, on social media is different than direct marketing 20 years ago. Sometimes your call to action is simply an invitation to stay connected.
Yeah, well, right? Look at exactly what Chris put down there in the comments.
I was going to try to convince Chris to come on and share that with us. But go ahead.
Yeah. But, exactly what Chris wrote in the comments. It's exactly what we just said. It's just I just say it differently, but it's the same concept.
So Carmine Gallo in his book Talk Like TED shares 3 similar steps. Okay, and he talks about the need to be engaging and entertaining. when you're presenting from the stage, right? Or maybe when you're doing a live video like we are right now. Number two, to be unique, to share something in a way that's unique to who you are, what you believe, and what the content is. Be unique, stand out, right? Don't be like everybody else. And number three, be memorable. Create content in a fashion that's memorable. People are talking about what you talked about. People are reaching out to you for more information. They're remembering what they saw. And if you look back, Tim, at a commercial, for example, on television that you're still talking about today, for example, on TikTok, I was looking at the 70s. So a channel that I shared with my family, the 70s. And I'm thumbing through the TikTok feed on the 70s, and I'm looking at shows, musicians, okay, who you would know. My kids don't know. And they're all really good. They were great at entertaining. They were great at being unique in and of themselves. And they created memorable presentations. And even today, look at those TikToks. It brings back memories. It's so powerful. George says, let me just share this with you guys, that this is awesome. George, I'm glad you're liking the show, and I'm glad you're helping me out. And Tim, I don't want to keep you if you got to run. If you're like me, I got my whole day ahead of me. So I decided to hop on and I'm just going to keep broadcasting. I've got a desk full of stuff, but you're more than welcome to stick around. I want to invite everybody in. If you guys want to join me or join Tim and me, just message me in the chat and I will share a super link with you. And you can pop on and say hi and have some fun. Seriously, you guys, jump on. Tim, I have a 5-step process to persuasion that using in trial.
I want to hear it. I got my pen ready to write it down, dude.
All right. Well, no, it's $1 million 5-step process, and literally it's helped me get huge cases done. It's really nothing new, and most people jump from step 1 directly to step 5. All right, and you'll see why when I go through the steps. But if you guys are interested in these 5 steps, these are the 5 steps. All right. Mia says, Charlie, jump in.
Yes,
I know,
Charlie,
Mia, just for you, you message me, I'll share these 5 steps for you. But these 5 steps are laid out, you guys, at my website, streaming.lawyer. Also, livevideo.lawyer. It's the same site. Number 1, you've got to state the problem. Okay, you've got to state the problem clearly and concisely. So when we're trying cases, when we're standing in front of a jury or picking a jury or giving an opening statement or giving a closing argument, we state the problem. This is why we're here today. And normally what we do is we state the problem using effective and persuasive storytelling techniques. It's not just you need X because of Y. Tell a story. Take your client, take the audience by the hand, bring them back in time so they're standing right next to you, watching something happen. They're smelling the exhaust, they're listening to the breath, they're watching something happen in real time, okay? And they're experiencing this, you're stating the problem. Number 2, and like I said, most people go 1 to 5. Number 2, agitate the problem. Now that we know what the problem is, maybe it's the environment, maybe it's bringing down the cost of doing business, maybe it's getting past the COVID-19, let's open our doors, okay? The problem is if we open our doors, let's use this as an example. If we open our doors too early, people can continue to get infected. They can continue to transmit the virus to someone else without even knowing it. That's a problem, regardless, it has nothing to do with politics. It's just a scientific issue. If we don't fix this problem, more and more people are going to get sick. More and more people are going to get ill. It's going to be tough to bring the economy back if the problem continues to get worse. So you state the problem. Number 2, you agitate the problem. Number 3, you offer a solution. You offer a solution that is easy to understand. It's not a complicated solution. Hopefully it's 1 or 2 sentences. And the solution, once again, probably the COVID-19 thing is probably not a good path to go down for obvious reasons. It's too political. It's too many different points of view on that. But state a solution to the problem. Number 4, show how your solution helps your immediate audience, whether in my case, it's a jury of 12 people I've met before. Maybe it's somebody sitting across my desk. Maybe it's an audience of 1,000 people that you're speaking to. And then number 5 mentioned, a call to action that's appropriate for your audience. My call to action in court is in my closing argument, where I have a jury verdict sheet. Jurors have to fill out a document and fill in the numbers, check guilty or not guilty, negligent or not negligent, what amount of money is the plaintiff entitled to, if any at all. They actually have to write and fill in the blanks. So we get a big sheet. We actually will walk the jury through and show them and write down exactly what we think the evidence shows they should be filling out on this form. That's our call to action. It might be to send someone to a website page. It might be to buy my product. It might be to, let's stay connected. You know, I've got a great show next Wednesday night. Stop by and enjoy the show. You don't have to be.
Yeah, make sure you subscribe to next Wednesday night show. That's a call to action.
Call to action. It's kind of subtle. And actually, I think calls to action sometimes do want to reflect the atmosphere of the content and the personality of the person who's speaking, right? And so, you know, number one, state the problem. Number two, agitate the problem. Number three, share a fix or a solution. Number four, how does that solution or fix work for your immediate audience? And then number five, some kind of call to action. You do those five things, you're set. A lot of people, Tim, like I said, here's the problem, number one. Here's how you fix it, number five.
Yeah.
All right. And it's an emotional journey. Sometimes that journey takes 5 minutes. Sometimes that journey may take 5 days. It just depends on what product or service is, what the issue is. So that's worked really well for me over the years.
I think it's great, especially when the fact that you laid it out, the fact you use it in court. All right. You get that. All right. You know what I mean? I'm not a lawyer. I don't plead cases in court. So now when you took my formula, which is simple here, it wouldn't work in court. I wouldn't win any cases if I tried doing mine, but in yours in court works well, and then it works back here. I love it, Mitch. Yeah.
So Sam Bone over on one of the Facebook pages that it's not getting pushed through, Sam, so I apologize, said, how do you do a Facebook Live on split screen and stream on 2 different business pages? And the answer is we are using StreamYard, but there are different platforms out there that allow you to do this. Including Facebook Live. I think you can actually share Facebook Live screens, but you don't have all the other bells and whistles. So that's what I'm using. Hey, you know, I'll tell you what. It's even though I've been trying cases for 34 years, and I love what I'm doing. I came across this during my COVID-19 house cleaning. Let me show you guys. This is Real Justice for Real People of Wide Ire, and it's by Karen Collar, who's out of Washington State. Karen was the lead counsel on the duck boat crash case that was tried last year and resulted in, I want to say $120 million verdict, something like this, multiple plaintiffs. Anyway, she wrote this December 2010. You guys, December 2010. And these are things to think about when you're picking a jury. If you're a lawyer and you're picking a jury, these are things that have worked for her, that have allowed her to be president of the Washington State Trial Lawyers Association, Trial Lawyer of the Year. She's a gifted communicator, Tim, and she's really good at just being herself, being that human being in the courtroom. That's her strength, right? And the reason I'm bringing this up is, no matter how good you are or how many times you've done something, there's always room for improvement for all of it, right? And I remember in 2010 getting this booklet in the mail from Karen and looking at it and thinking, this is really, really good stuff. I mean, I've got pages, marked down. And look, you guys, 10 years later, I've still got this, right? I've still got this. And I'm still learning from something that happened 10 years ago. Same thing happens with social media. Except faster, because things are changing a lot faster, right? So
a lot faster.
Chris Green wants in. So I'm going to message
Chris. Bring him in here.
Let me see if I can do this real quick. Hang on. Chris, hopefully we're still connected on Facebook. So I'll try to message you. I think.
So I mean,
Chris,
one of the things that while you're doing that is Mitch, that most guys they don't realize that, one of the coolest things that happens when you actually bring somebody else on screen with you. It's one of these cool things. Mitch has got me on screen. that gets a conversation going. And, you know, I've got clients who come up to me and go, Tim, how do I start building an audience? Start interviewing people, guys. Just pick in your niche and interview the top 25 people in your niche. Watch what that does for you. I did this whole thing over the last couple months, stuck inside. I just said, I'm going to interview 100 people in 30 days. Now, it was a lot of freaking work to do that. But that connected me to people who then connected me to their list and said, hey, you know what I mean? Why don't you get on Tim's show since you're sitting home anyway? So
well, say that number again. How many people in how many days?
100 interviews in 30 days.
Wow.
I don't encourage any of you to do this, by the way. It is a crazy thing and it is nuts and it's a lot of work.
But I can't think of a better way to connect with people, meet people like you just said, build out relationships, build out your referral network. Chris, I just messaged you on Facebook. So hopefully I responded to here I am. And it looks like that was the right one. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to bring you in, Chris. You know what? Tell me when you're ready. Thumbs up. So we have a green room here, you guys, which is kind of cool. Okay, so Chris is ready. And so I can see who's in the green room before I bring them on live video, which is kind of important, especially if you've ever been Zoom bombed. Had a bad experience with that.
Chris, had people pop into your blab. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh gosh, back in the day.
Hey, Chris.
Hey, Chris. Hey, Mitch. How you guys doing?
Good, man.
How many years has it been since our paths first crossed?
It's been like 10 years. And it really, you hit the keywords, right? Spreecast and Gary Vee back in the day, because he was one of their first kind of big personalities on the platform. And I remember being sad when they shut it down. I was like, I actually messaged Gary. I was like, dude, they took everything down. They took down all your old archives. They took down all the old, like all the residual stuff that you would have. And he was like, oh man, like I didn't think about that. But Jeff made the right move, right? Because how would Spreecast be able to compete with Be Live, StreamYard, Switcher Studio, Facebook Live Native? Like that was before Instagram TV. That was like, it would have been very difficult for Spreecast to compete. I think he made the right move in hindsight.
Yeah,
unless, go ahead, Tim.
I was going to say, but think about it. I mean, had MySpace and Friendster not started, we wouldn't have Facebook and Twitter today.
Oh, right. They played their role.
They played their role in getting this here. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like the unsung heroes, right? Like I've seen a lot of, like a lot with like the Michael Jordan stuff that's going on right now. It's bringing back, of course, there's no live sports. So there's all these like archive stories being shared. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, these guys were like the OGs. These guys were the innovators. These guys were doing it when it wasn't multi-million dollars, when it wasn't cool, when it wasn't social media. Like now you can get in and be like, oh, I'll do it because of all this extra stuff. Back then they did it because they loved it and they were the best. And often the original peeps don't get the recognition that people have today, right? And like it made me think, like, like where do you want to fit in? Like, would you rather be, like a Scottie Pippen or a Kevin Durant? Right, like they're going to play different roles. Kevin Durant made a heck of a lot more money than Scottie Pippen, but Pippen went through a pretty wild ride. I don't know. There's a lot.
Someone's been watching ESPN. Someone's been watching the.
I'll tell you, I'm not watching Fox Southwest because we have Dish and they don't have it, and we're Mavericks fans. So like they're playing all the old Mavericks games, and we can't see them because we don't have it.
Well, depending what year, there might not be much to watch if you're an old Mavericks fan, because there were
2011. They're playing because we get emails every day. 2011. That's the year they won the championship, and we couldn't rewatch them.
Oh, that's crazy.
So what's interesting is when Spreecast rolled out, it was 3G. On our phones, right? Mm-hmm. And I had been up to Spreecast twice in San Francisco, so we were up there for two different reasons. And I stopped by their facility and got the tour and met everybody. And I think that if 4G was around when Spreecast was rolling out, I think they actually probably were set up to kind of dominate the market. In other words, if these other players wanted to come in, they would either have to buy Spreecast out, they would have to, license the technology. It was pretty state of the art. But the problem is it wasn't it wouldn't work over the phones. And I remember Jeff and his some of his team having lunch. And so I got a message on my phone, hey Mitch, we're having lunch. We want to test out Spreecast over the phone. You want to give it a try? And I did. And it was, that traditional early breaking up, poor audio, poor video. It just didn't work as much as we all wanted it to. And then the next challenge, you guys, was monetizing the platform.
Mhm.
See, it was a free platform back in the day. Then when they tried to monetize it,
a lot of people balked at it. They were like, no, this has been free for a year or 2 years, however long it was. I ain't going to pay for it. But it makes me think of something. Like, I coach a lot of people into selling on Amazon and different things. And a lot of people want to know what the secrets are, right? And honestly, one of the secrets is timing, right? You got to time. And sometimes you get lucky with the timing. And you can definitely be too early. You can definitely be too late. But you got to acknowledge the timing. You can't just show up and be like, oh, we got the best product. I mean, we made apps for scouting for selling on Amazon, but we made them and we came out and we were lucky. We didn't do this on purpose. We came out when iPhone, Android, App Store, 4G, and anybody in the FBA, in the Amazon world, FBA, meaning Amazon would fulfill your stuff. Like, it was the perfect storm. If we didn't have all of those things, everything would have been different. Like, you couldn't scan fast enough with 3G speeds. You couldn't get an app on your phone if iPhone hadn't come out. Like, all these things just really didn't work. And with FBA, like, I wouldn't recommend, hey, you should set up a side selling business and fill your garage. Like, no. Nobody wants to do that, but they'll send it to Amazon. So it was a perfect storm of timing, but we were lucky. We didn't plan it. We were lucky.
Okay, Chris, tell everybody what you do and how people can get in touch with you, if you don't mind.
Oh, you mean like a hook story offer or something? Right.
You know what? I want to shine a light on you guys for coming in. Absolutely. Tell us what you're doing.
I full credit. That's a Russell Brunson thing, right? Like, that's from the ClickFunnels world. I didn't make that up, but it's still perfect. Like HSO.
No, but I see Chris Green here. Okay, that's all I see right now. So that's all that matters. So
I would characterize myself now, I've done a lot of different things, as an author and someone who helps other people sell merch on the internet and make extra money on the internet and kind of monetize their passions, monetize their interests. I mean, as I've been watching it, you guys, I'm like, oh, Tim, you should totally be doing this. And you held up that book. I was like, oh, Mitch, for Pete's sakes, you got to be doing this. And I find that so many people don't know about so many of the platforms that are out there because they're so new, right? Like, we listed off a bunch of live streaming services, and I'm sure there's twice as many that we just don't even know about. Yeah. But Amazon has print on demand capability, free for books. So Tim, with your podcast, I'm like, do you have a transcribed version that you can sell on Amazon?
Not yet, but I will.
One episode at a time, and then have a big multi-pack of the whole month, just for people, not for everybody, but for people who would rather read it. Mm-hmm. Right. And because it's free and it's outsourced and it's on demand, takes up none of your time other than to create it the first time. Mm-hmm. And then Mitch, you hold up that little book that was written 10 years ago. I'm like, that, and I'm working a lot with free plus shipping offers right now, because if that book was free plus shipping, like, that book would cost you $5 to fulfill, like, to have printed and actually ship out, less than $5. So you say, hey, just pay $4.95 shipping and I'll give you this free book. And that book is full of amazing, great content. And it's got other offers in it to join your Facebook group and sign up for my text notifications. So when I go live for my streaming and all these things, but it's such a good hook because it's so much value up front. It's listed, potentially listed on Amazon for $19.95. So it's like, I'm getting a $20 book for free. I just got to pay the shipping. It's such an irresistible offer to get people in, hook, story, offer it. But I tell all my clients, none of this works unless you are good, have a good product, make good content, have good information. You got to actually have something of value to offer. But if you got something of value to offer, that's the hard part. That's the variable. Everything else, you can plug yourself in and be like, okay, I got something of value to offer. How do I get more attention? How do I monetize? How do I outsource this? How do I streamline this? Those are answerable questions. And that's what makes this fun. It's basically, I feel I'm in the business of helping people.
I love that. I love that, Chris. And look, it's a matter of just putting yourself out there, right? I'm telling you guys, we had a court here in Orange County. We found out either yesterday or the day before yesterday, everything's continued to 2021. Okay. Now, not emergency hearings and other things, but all of our jury trials, our case management conference, everything's been continued. This morning's hearing was continued. Zoom has been continued to next week. My mindset was, okay, I've got some free time. I could wake my kid up, who's home. He's 20, just finished his second year in college, go out in the backyard and play beer pong, which we're going to do, but we're using water, you guys. And just so you guys know, not that I'm against drinking beer, it's just water. It's too early in the day. Or I can hop on a live video and see what happens. Put yourself out there. What's the worst that can happen? You go live for a few minutes, nobody shows up and you're done. Or you start reconnecting with people you haven't seen literally in years.
Okay. Mitch, you could do this for beer pong.
Oh, so what is that?
That'd be a short game.
Moonshine. I've never tried moonshine. I'll tell you.
Hey, you California people don't know what the good stuff is. That's just
no, we don't. We don't. Garrett grabbed a what is it called? White Claw. Those things.
Yeah.
And I went with a glass of cab last night, and he still kicked my butt a couple of times. I did get 2 wins from him. I mean, here he is in a frat. This is all the guy does. I pulled off 2 wins the day before yesterday, so I'm getting it down. Hey, real quick, Chris, this is. I mean, my book's been out for a while now, but this is the book that Chris was referencing, you guys, on Amazon, Kindle, and Audible. Here's the thing. When I go to lawyer conventions, they have people that speak, hey, listen, you can write your own book, or for $25,000, you can do this, this, and this, right? And they're talking about how you can get this done, and they're quoting these numbers that just blow me away. Like, and I get it, right? I understand you could spend that much money to do your own book, or you can kind of use the approach that I took, and which I think Chris was kind of mentioning, is the technology out there today is such that if you write your book or have other people contribute chapters, which is what I did, the best decision I made for a couple of different reasons. Honestly, just putting it together, having it proofread and everything else, you could literally put together, a book for less than $1,000 by the time you're done, less than $500 by the time you're done, and get it up on Amazon, and then either do the Audible thing yourself or have professionals come in and do it, which is what we ended up doing, just because I didn't have time to read everything. And it's the best business card. It's the best introduction handshake that I can think of. I wish I had done my first book 20 years ago, you guys. That's how powerful these things are. By getting contributors to share chapters in the book, guess what happens when the book comes out? They share your book with their audience.
Yeah.
Right? And can I show you guys something real quick? Just since we're on this topic, I think this is cool.
Go ahead. And then I'm going to give you a mind blower.
Okay, but this is kind of a mind blower. I want you guys to see this. Hang on. Let me find where it is. Hang on. Let's see if it's here. Yes. Okay. Let me come back. You guys check this out. So the book comes out. Let me see where I am. And about a week later, my kid comes downstairs. This is, a year and a half ago. My kid comes downstairs and he's on Snap. He goes, Dad, my Snap's blowing up. I'm like, what are you talking about? He goes, you got street cred. And I said, well, I already know that. I don't need your buddies to tell me that. He goes, no, seriously, Gary Vee just tweeted out your book. All right. And so check this out. And what happened is Gary was nice enough, and he doesn't normally promote products and things like that, but we've known each other for a while. He tweets out to 1.8 million people this tweet. He goes, I haven't even read the book, but I wanted to give Mitch some love, and tweets this out. So you guys know what happened next, right? It just blew up. It went to #1 in 2 categories, like almost within 15 minutes. And what I also did was each of the people that contributed chapters were pretty well known. They contributed chapters. There's Bob Berg right there, you guys. Tim, you and I were just talking about Bob. Oh, Bob. And so they shared pictures of the book. There's David Merriman Scott, who's gotten me on stage a couple of times, Tony Robbins. You guys know Aaron Roth of Archon Mounts. They share a book, some personal friends of mine. There's Mark Schaefer with a video. Now, Steve Garfield, I don't know if you guys know Steve, but he is
Mitch, I'm not sure your screen's coming through.
Oh, bummer.
I mean, the screen is there, but I feel it's frozen. Unless it's just
I think it just froze up. Yeah.
Is this one working?
Go back to camera and then go back to share screen.
Is this screen working right here?
I'm in StreamYard and I'm double checking on the live.
Oh, you guys, I got to show you. Okay, let me try this again.
Now we're back on camera.
Right. Let me show you. I got to show you this. This is, I'm probably not picking the correct. Hang on. Let me close a couple of these because there's some pictures I want to share.
No, the way you're describing them, I'm like, I got to see this, but like, it wasn't there. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
It's a business approach that I think other people can duplicate. Okay, so I think that's kind of the takeaway. Let's try this again. So I'm going to go to this and this. Can you see the scroll?
Yeah, we got. Now you're scrolling.
Is that full screen?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So what I was talking about is, then Gary's tweet comes out. This is the tweet right here, which just, I already explained what happened. That was kind of cool. 1.8 million people. But what we also did is we had friends who were kind enough to share photos with the book. There's Bob Berg, who we talked about, and Bob was a contributing chapter. So when Bob shares out to his social media following, hey, there's a new book out, I contributed a chapter, check it out. Many of these people have huge followings. That's David Merriman Scott right there that has gotten me on stage the last couple of years at Tony Robbins. You guys know Aaron Roth of Orcon Mounts, a couple of friends of mine who are lawyers, Scott and Bernard. Schaefer did a video review of the book, 2 thumbs up. That's my kid right there for Christmas. I don't think that's what he wanted for Christmas, but that's what he got, whether he likes it or not. Steve Garfield, I don't know if you guys know Steve, but he wrote the book Get Seen that came out around 2007, 2008. And it was all about video. And I want to say like YouTube videos, but I don't know if it was before or after YouTube. I think it was about the same. But when I read Steve's book, that's what really kind of motivated me to go all in on video back in the day. And it was cool having Steve share the book and do a review on Amazon. Professor Nicholas Meir, Harlan Schillinger, who's one of the godfather of legal marketing, a lot of other mutual friends, you guys, sharing the book. And so if you guys want to, Mike Byers, who was a police officer injured on the job, that's what he was doing while he was rehabbing. Bruce, who a lot of you might recognize, he was the Abercrombie and Fitch poster dude back in the day. He's a friend of mine that lives in town. You guys know Kim Garst. So one of the things, let me come back and get rid of all this. One of the things I think that's kind of cool is if you guys do a book, think about contributing authors, and then think about not only writing the book, but post-promotion, right? Post-promotion. What do you do once you have the book? And I think the more people you have sharing your work, the greater the chance of getting it out there on the market. So I didn't really want that to be all about me, you guys, but it's a great example of how you want to do this because it works, right?
I want everybody to have a book.
I want to give you a one-up on books.
Tim's been waiting for this. He's been waiting for this. A 10-year. So how to become
10-year-old's top easy 20 things on how to start an effective blog. Now, I teach blogging as content creation. The boy who wrote this book is now 18 or 19 years old. When he was turned 17, he decided he did not want to have them around anymore because he doesn't like the picture on the front. I teach blogging. I said, how much for all you have left? I think I paid him $300 for the entire lot. The only way you can get a copy of this book is to join my coaching program. I took his $10 book and turned it into a $3,000 sale.
Exclusivity sells. Like, oh, I can't get it anywhere else. Now I want it.
You can't.
I didn't want it before, but now I want it.
And his dad, it's the funny thing is his dad is my coach. All right. His dad shows it on his PowerPoint, and it's like his dad has it on his thumb drive, but you can't get the hard copies. And he actually says it now all the time. You know, if you want a hard copy of it, you got to go see Tim Gillette. He's the only guy who has them anymore.
When was the book written, Tim?
This was written in 2011 or 12.
That's wild. And Tim, do you have Chris and Tim? Do you guys have books out? Are you working on them?
I do. I
got a stack.
My first one.
Well, I want to this is the time right now. Yeah. Let's see. Tim's holding his up. Let's see, Tim.
My first one, and it's really not. It's out of print. I've got to redo it because I want to fix some things. But
you can always get what you want. And is that about marketing? Is that about business? Is it about dating? What's it about?
It was personal growth. My original brand was called Rocker Life Coach, and it was rock and roll songs to help you grow. So my first book was You Can Always Get What You Want. The second one was Taking Care of Business. The third one was Not Going to Take It Anymore. And now I'm writing a book, Simple Easy Marketing. I'm in the process of finishing that. So that's my newest venture. And when that's done, I'm going to put all three of those back out as a package.
I love that.
Yeah.
Are you going to finish your recent book in the next month or two?
The marketing book will be done and in print for my November live event.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, Mitch, I want to encourage, rather than show off all my books, I can show books. Like I got tons of them, right?
I want to hear ideas. Chris is full of ideas.
I got tons of ideas. So I'll show 2 books. This is my $10 marketing, my business card as a book. You don't make money at $10 on Amazon, but you get expertise and credibility. And the way that you've explained it, and I hope everybody that's listening, especially the lawyers, are like, wait a minute, if I go to an event, if I go to a conference, people are going to treat me different if I'm a published author. If I hand them a book, it's not just like, oh, thanks for the book. Like, no one cares if you hand me someone else's book. Like, you wrote this, you get instant status, instant credibility. Even if, and I'll say, even if you're not actually that good, even if your book has typos and it's not well written, doesn't matter, because people still see authors this way. So you can leverage that. Now, I want everybody to actually be good. Okay, don't put out junk books and try to piggyback on this. But you can still, you can make money with books as well. I got like 600. I got more feedback or more 5-star reviews than Gary Vee.
You do. And I just want everyone to see, this is what someone's going to see when they're searching Amazon for, using different keywords. They're going to come across this, and this is what they see. And look at this. I mean, books that are being recommended along with Chris's are Mark Schaefer's book, David Merriman Scott's new book, Fanocracy, which is outstanding, Jay Baer's book. I mean, this, you guys, is what you want people to find when they're searching you. Let me click on Chris's author page.
Oh, don't click on it. Scroll down a little on the main page to find the author page, because that's just searching by.
Oh, sorry about that.
Go back one more.
Do you mind me doing this, Chris?
No, not at all. But if you scroll down a little, follow the author underneath the book image. That's where my author page will be.
Right there?
Yeah, that one.
Okay, yeah. Let's follow. Let me
just click on there. Yeah, we go.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, so I've got an author page, which they are free. Anybody can make them. You see different types of books. I even published 50 Shades of Grey Cats, which, believe it or not, I get more mileage out of that book because I teach self-publishing. And because people are like, what kind of book can I write? I don't know if I can write Harry Potter. I'm like, you can write 50 Shades of Grey Cats. All it is 50 different pictures of gray cats. And honestly, that's when it clicks for them. They're like, oh, you mean I can publish anything? And I'm like, yes, I've been screaming that from the stage for an hour. And then they finally get it. And I want to give advice. I'm not a lawyer, but I want to give advice to the lawyers out there, because just like you said, you can go to a conference and they'll offer to write a lawyer book for you for $25,000. And for a lot of people, that's probably actually a good deal because you get it done. Right. Yeah. But I would challenge any professional to say, hey, look, I call it my top 10 strategy. I say to any lawyer, if you like, do you know the top 10 things somebody should know before hiring a lawyer? And they're like, yeah, of course I do. Like, well, then write your book in a weekend. Like, that's your 10 chapters. Like, you don't have to write this like law textbook. You have to write something that's like at least I'd say like 80 pages. But this is 6x9 double spaced. Like, it doesn't really matter. 10 chapters, top 10 things me as a lawyer think that you should know before hiring a lawyer. And there's your lawyer book. And you can embellish it. You can change the subject. But I find that people can grasp that idea. They're like, oh, I know the top 10 things you should know before you buy or lease your next car. Like, I know the top 10 things you should know before starting a blog. I know the top 10 things you should know before starting a podcast. Like, those things if that's your industry and that's your book. And you can just get that into a book. You understand the process. You get the confidence of uploading it. And then if you want to write a more in-depth guide of like how to grow a podcast, very specific, from 0 to 1 million in 18 months, whatever you want, but get the first one done. Because that barrier, that wall that's sitting there, be like, oh, I can't write a book. Writing a book is like, that's too big of a job. I can't do that. They're charging $25,000. It must be really hard to do. I'm like, you could literally do it in a weekend. I uploaded a book actually last night. It was approved and for sale 9:00 this morning, less than 8 hours after I uploaded it. I ordered it. And if it wasn't for COVID-19, it would literally be here tomorrow. A physical copy of the book. It's amazing what you can do. And everybody out there can leverage this.
How about a quote book? Like, let me do all the famous quotes and people in my industry.
Anything. I mean, and the more names you can drop in there, the better. Like I love what you did, Mitch, with like, oh, Gary Vee tweeted this out. Yeah, screen cap that sucker real fast and then leverage that as social proof later. Take all the pictures and leverage it as social proof. Hey, I gave you a shout out in my book. I'd love to send you a copy. Can I send it to you? And then 80% of those people are going to post it on their Instagram. And then you can use those images as social proof. Like it really is, in my opinion, almost too easy. And because it's easy, people think it's not possible. So they don't do it.
Yeah, it's a lot of work, to put everything together, right? Well, let me back up. It doesn't need to be a lot of work. You can get it done. I will say that for us, The challenge was taking content being submitted by, someone who is a leading expert on a particular platform. That platform may be audio or video related, and then taking that written content and making sure that it reads well. It makes sense the way it was put down in writing on the written page, because there's different strengths that we all have, and having it combined together in a book that makes sense. Like, it makes sense, right?
It has to be in an order. That's the hard part. Is the outline.
There's a story here, but I also think a great way to get started is ask 10 friends of yours to share a chapter. Pick a topic. Maybe your topic is how to hit a good forehand on the tennis court, the art of tennis, or something like this, right? It has nothing to do with practicing law, but how to hit a good, how to be a better tennis player and trial lawyer at the same time. And then you reach out to your 10 friends that play tennis who happen to be lawyers and have them share a chapter on a trial lawyer skill and hitting the tennis ball, and put it together. Have a theme, right? So you're writing one chapter, you got 9 friends writing the other chapters, and you put together. And here's the process that I used, and Tim and Chris, maybe you can jump in, but I just want to break it down. We created a book in Word. We use Microsoft Word. So everyone just contributed a chapter. Some people wrote it in Google Docs. Long story short, when it's all said and done, it's in one big Word document, right?
Yep.
And then we went to Amazon and using some of their technology, and you sign up. You basically, what you do is you import your book into one of their formats. And I don't remember the terminology, but you just basically import it, fix the table of contents a little bit, get everything so that it looks good. You have a cover created, or you create your cover using the internal Amazon services, add a couple of pictures, and you click basically print or done, whatever the word is. And that's really how you create and upload and publish your book. I'm simplifying it because it wasn't that easy, but it'll be a lot easier the next time we do it. And then you can go in and you can actually edit mistakes. You can clean up for example, the first book that came out, the cover was kind of purple. Okay. And I wanted a blue cover, not a purple color. And so we just kept tweaking it a little bit. Right. But I mean, that was kind of the process as far as the production aspect, Chris.
It's not difficult work, but it's the front loading of the work that I think scares people away. They're like, oh, but I don't know if I'm going to get the value out of it. Like, oh, this is an opportunity cost of doing something else that, if you're in a dollars per hour mindset, you're like, I'm not making dollars. I'm spending a lot of hours on here. I'm not making dollars. And I'm like, to me, and that's, of course, just my opinion, but the value that you have by being a published author, combined with the opportunities that you have for offers and networking by having not just a book. I emphasize a physical book, a physical product, something you can ship, something you can hand somebody. Nobody cares you wrote an ebook. Go to a conference and say, here's a PDF copy of my ebook. Nobody cares and nobody's going to read it. You hand them something tangible that they can literally look up on Amazon and say, hey, this sells for $20. They're not going to look at you and be like, oh, Mitch, I know your book only costs $2.70 to print. Thanks for the $3. Like, no one thinks that. They see a book and they look at the price on the back, and that's the value. It's you can leverage so much value by being a published author. Every professional should do it, especially lawyers. Go into a law office and one lawyer has a stack of books on their desk with their name and their face on it, and they offer you one when you come in. You're going to differentiate yourself from everyone else in that office real easy.
When you get the book done, you guys, the way it works is you have an author platform. And so if I wanted to gift Tim or Chris a copy of my book, which I don't know if you guys have it, but I'd be more than willing to. What I can do is just click, add their information, and I can send them a book basically at my cost. It's about half the price of what it normally would cost me to send it to somebody as a gift. It only takes a couple of seconds, and in the mail, they get the book along with a note, following up on whatever it is we're talking about. When people join my mastermind, you guys, one of the benefits is they get a complimentary copy of my book, whether it's an Audible, a Kindle, or this. What I normally do is, I think the book is like $12.95 or $14.95, whatever it is. I usually don't even go through the Amazon author option. I'll just go ahead and order them a gift copy through the normal process. If you were gifting a book to somebody, Chris, this is the way you would do it. And the reason I do that is it actually gets over to the other person faster.
Yeah, much better. Prime. Yeah.
It's, instead of a couple of weeks, it's like next day, right?
Yeah.
And so I want to make sure that when I tell them I'm going to give them a book, they get it the next day or the day thereafter. And it's a great marketing tool. It's a great relationship building tool. So yeah, wow. I'm glad that you guys are sharing your book thoughts and ideas, because it is a powerful tool to have.
It is. Mine was, I personally, my first one, I took forever to write it. I had my dad tell me in 2005, you know what I mean? Yeah, you need to write a book. Okay, Dad, I will. I'm in this business because of Zig Ziglar. I told Zig I was going to write a book. My dad and Zig were both in the grave when that book was printed. And literally, copy number 1, my mom holds. That was Dad's copy. Copy number 2 is sitting at the Ziglar offices. That was it, because I promised him I would do it. But the day that book came in, the day that I opened the case up, all right, it was like I accomplished something. You know what I mean? It's not like that. I produced digital books up to then, but at that moment in time when I could take it out of the case and go, I did it. There is nothing more than that first one when you do it. I mean, tell me, Chris, your first one. What was it like?
Oh, it's the exact same thing. Like, you remember life before and life after. It sounds silly, but publishing your first book. So the first book I ever wrote was this one. This is actually the original first copy with all the edits on it, which is thankful. I had an uncapitalized I in my first edition, like the worst typo you can possibly make.
Oh, there's a misspelling on the cover of my first book that I had to fix. Yeah.
But I messaged every single person that I could think of, family members, friends from college. Everybody's like, guys, I wrote a book. Give me your address. And I said, and at my cost, bought my own books and sent them out individually. I was so excited. I'm sure everybody was like, not as excited. They're like, wow, Chris is like really excited about this book thing. And that was 2011, I guess, the first book I ever wrote. And I remember thinking this was way too easy. Like, I should not be, as a liberal arts major, like I should not be just a published author, because now I see that, wait a minute, I'm being treated different. I've got all this extra like clout and all these things for nothing different. Like, I know the same stuff, but now I published it. And I remember thinking 2011, this is too easy. This is going to get ruined, right? Like, marketers ruin everything kind of thing. It's going to be, everybody's going to publish books, then everybody's an author. And when everyone's super, then no one is, right? Like, that's what I thought was happening. Here we are 9 years later, and I still have to beg. I have to grab people by the shirt and say, publish a book. You have the best content. You will do so well. Your hook story offer is going to kill. All of these things. I have to, like, sometimes I say, just let me do it. Let me do it for you, right? Like, I'll license your stuff. This is amazing. And so now I know that, like, no, the front loading of the work is too much of a barrier for most people. But the ones who break through, the ones who say, look, I will do this. I will put in the work. I know there's not a guarantee that I'm going to get all these benefits that everybody talks about, but I don't see how you can't get the benefits. Even if you just get the benefits of saying, I accomplished something, you have that emotional high, which is better than making money. I would say it's better. That's the emotion that people
really drive you further than any dollar you make.
Yeah. And then you'll publish another book and another book. Like, the first one is just to, like, understand the process and get it out of your head that it's not that hard. We're not writing Harry Potter, right? We're transcribing our podcasts.
I wish I had done a book earlier before this one came out, because, like you said, that learning curve, you can learn so much, and I have a friend that I'm messaging back and forth, you guys, Bella Vasta. I don't know if you know Bella. I'm trying to get her on video with us. Let's see. Oh, no. I don't want to talk about why you messaged me, Bella. What I want to talk about are Facebook groups. And you were not live. You were in the green room. So we're good. We're using StreamYard. So I was trying to get a friend of mine to come on. Hopefully she'll still jump on and talk about combining the power of writing a book with the power of Facebook groups and why they're so important right now.
This is like what I do, Mitch. This is like,
is this what you do? And so do you know Bella? Do you know Bella? Have you guys met?
I don't know Bella, so
I don't, but it sounds like we have a lot of overlap.
So I don't know if I'm going to be able to twist her arm. I don't know if I'm going to be successful, but we'll see. And Bella, you come on, Bella. But I watched her and met her down in San Diego, and we both spoke at Social Media Day San Diego, and she had the stage. I think it was right after lunch, if I'm not mistaken, maybe right before lunch, and talked about Facebook groups. And it was awesome. I mean, the things that she shared on your Facebook group, you've got the front yard of your home. that everyone's driving by and looking at, and then you've got the backyard of your home, and where all the exciting, confidential action happens. And the way she described it was so powerful, and I've shared her with my lawyer mastermind. I love sharing her resources. So yes, Bella, that was why I wanted to pop you on, not for the other reasons, which we can talk about later. But I don't think I'm going to be able to twist or arm you guys. Hey, everyone, share this out. Join us if you'd like to be part of the show. I am just kicking the tires on StreamYard and actually enjoying my Friday, my TGIF, with a couple of old friends. So this is fun seeing you guys, and inviting everyone to come in. There's a green room, so don't be shy. You're not going to jump right on live video. It allows you to get ready, and then I'll introduce you before we pop on. So,
Mitch, have you tried Facebook Rooms yet?
We did. I did one this morning.
Yesterday.
From within a group, or where did you go? Where did you make?
We did ours in live stream. I think Barbara's live stream universe. I think it was, or I can't remember whose it was. One of the live streaming groups.
Yeah.
I did. David Vaughn. Do you guys know David Vaughn?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, David Vaughn. He just texted me and said, "Do you want to do it?" And before long, we had David in there, Bonnie, Frank was in there, Carlos. I mean, a couple of old Blab people. We kind of all jumped in for about 35 minutes. Nazim from over in Italy was on there. Yeah.
I remember Blab. I still got a Blab sticker on my laptop.
I don't. I never got my Blab T-shirt. It got stolen.
You guys were active on that platform.
Okay, I tell people all the time what I was most known for. Blab. Do you remember the Blab, the official check mark of Blab to be Blab official?
Like a little purple check or something?
It was a green check that was an emoji next to your name, and we used to call it Blab official. And we took it for a ride. Like, I mean, literally, we were going to make T-shirts about it on Blab official. At least that's what the check mark says next to my name. I mean, it was a joke. I had a whole video series on how to become Blab official. And it was the greatest opt-in system I ever created. And finally, Sean, from the Blab, calls me up one day and he says, "Will you stop?" I'm like, "I'm not hurting. I'm not taking money for it. I'm playing a game with it. I'm a publicity stunt." And he goes, "Yeah, but your publicity stunt gets me 2,800 emails a day asking me how to get Blab official." I'm like, "Okay, I'll stop." I don't want to get the business.
They had the call to action instead of you getting it. Like, you wanted those 2,800 emails coming.
I did. Yeah.
But this is a great example, right? Like, you saw something like, wait a minute, other people are going to want this. It's new. People don't know how to do it. So I'm gonna make content around it. What else is doing that right now? Facebook Rooms right now. No one's made a Facebook Rooms course. No one knows how to differentiate. What's it look like from within a group? What's it look like from within a private group? What's it look like from a page? Can I share a page back here? If it's live in a group, can anybody outside the group see it? There's only people in the group. All these questions are easy. They're going to have easy answers if you just play around and figure it out. Then you put out content around that while it's trending. And what's Zoom going to do? How's the Zoom stock doing? Now the Facebook Rooms have come out. Get all this publicity, collect, have the call to action, collect all the emails, give them something else, coaching. Hey, Tim, can I get on the phone with you and ask you some questions? Yes, you can, but it's not cheap. It's not cheap though. If you want cheap, you can come over to my group where you can ask questions. But my one-on-one mentoring is that, like, it's all, and it's just providing value. It's saying, look, there's something new. People are gonna have questions. I have answers, and I'll give them to you. And you establish credibility. So even if they don't buy anything, it's like, Tim's the Facebook Rooms guy. He helped me out. And now, like, every time I see somebody with a question on Facebook Rooms, I send them over to Tim's group. And then now it's that easy.
One of the things I've noticed about social and digital is that there's always an opportunity to continue expanding your services. There's something new coming out almost every week. And if you're setting up your business in this venue, there's always an opportunity, like you said, Chris, for a new course, a new book, a new live video to take your audience by the hand and show them the inside tips on how to use this stuff. And we went live for the first time yesterday in my mastermind Facebook group. It's a private group using Facebook Rooms. It was cool. And the reason it's cool is because in groups, it allows you to bring everybody in the group that you'd like to bring in. And it looks to me as though it will, if you allow it to stay open, you can leave the Facebook room, go on with your day, and the room stays active. In other words, people can click in, and I think they can start it up if they're in the Facebook group. Now, I might be mistaken, but I noticed a couple of people logging in. I went live yesterday morning. They were logging in last night. Okay, so I could have probably shut the group the Facebook room down, but I just kind of left it open to see what would happen. So it's just another great tool for interacting with group members.
Oh, it's huge. Facebook knows where all this traffic is, right?
Yeah. And they're trying to do everything they can to keep you on their site.
I love the idea of a static room where you can keep coming back. I don't know if you remember room.io.
I do, now that you mentioned it. Is that still around?
I don't think it's ever been. Yeah, it's from Spreecast guys, and I don't know if they ever even officially launched it. But the idea was to have a static room for college homework and like study sessions where you could come in, it's always the same link. People can always be there, and I like that idea. You have to trust it with certain groups. So I've got a group with 75,000 people in it, and I don't have rooms in that group. I have a group with 6,000 in it where I do have rooms, and I'm a little gun shy to try it because like, what if 6,000 people it's not like I know everybody in it. It's just a group, so I don't want having troublemakers, and there is a setting to say only admins can start rooms or anybody can start a room. So you have to kind of know your group because you don't want just troublemakers to go in and just ruin the experience for everybody.
Yes.
But not to be afraid of that. You can kind of weed people out. I almost want people to try to ruin it. Oh, good. Now you can get out, so now I don't have to worry about you.
And now I know you're somebody I don't want to do business with. Thank you.
Exactly.
Thank you for showing me that.
Honestly, I do like you. I'd like, please tell me if you're not trustworthy. So I
check this out. So along the lines, let me just come back to full screen, you guys. What I've done is I want to show you guys Facebook rooms. This is the Legal Minds private Facebook group, which is part of a private member website, but we will bring people in if they're interested into this group. But let me show you guys what it looks like. This is kind of cool. So I'm actually broadcasting this live StreamYard to multiple sites, including this group. Okay. But let me show you what we have. Members posting stuff. Steve Dotto did a good thing on Google Meet the other day, so I shared that. Here's what it looks like this right now. So yesterday morning at 11 a.m., we went live in this group. But right now, if somebody came in and clicked join room, it says happening now.
Yeah.
So it's still live. I guess I would need to actually, let me just close. I could delete the post if I wanted to and probably shut the room down. The other thing is when you guys have groups right here where it says rooms, this is what's been added. And when you click this, you can set up your own room. So kind of a cool little tool that, like you said, you can keep open and keep a conversation going, right? Maybe with some polls, some questions, an ongoing crowdsourcing project that everyone's working on together.
That's something I might play with tonight.
Do you know if it's archived? Or is it like if you're not here live, if you're not watching it live?
I was wondering if they're recorded.
I hope they're recorded for posterity.
While you're asking that question, I'm going back in privately and I'm going to just click join the room. Let me see what's going on here.
I mean, could you imagine if you had a big group and had like 3 experts on 3 different tracks of knowledge and they're just hosting? You could have a virtual conference in a Facebook group now.
You could have a virtual conference and it does not look like it's recording.
I didn't think they recorded them, and I don't think you can broadcast it. So you can't, like StreamYard, we can broadcast it out on the internet, but I don't think we can broadcast it out in our group. So it's just a private conversation.
It's almost for like one-on like coaching and like private.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You guys,
I'm going to like it because like for my mastermind group is I'm thinking about doing that to have a meeting in there, but I do mine in Zoom and then record it and put it in the group.
Yeah.
But I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to try it though.
I think one of the advantages, the question that was asked about what are the advantages about going live, in a group is, it does allow for real-time interaction. And there's something special about getting to know people when it's live. Anything can happen, especially if you've got a private group where either it's a paid membership or it's just for a certain group of people. And I think it allows you to be more intimate. It's like somebody coming and knocking on your front door. Hey, look, we've got some cupcakes left over from our kid's birthday party. Would you guys like them? Come on in. And then the dance starts, right? You just start hanging out together. I think that's one of the advantages to going live in groups is it makes it more intimate, more spontaneous. And the other thing is you can address real-time issues, whether you're newsjacking something. When the YouTube personality was tragically killed on Mother's Day last Sunday, here in LA. And then I guess they arrested the driver of the car who's got the tattoo show. We talked about that in real time, a group of lawyers. You know, what are the civil consequences? What are the criminal consequences of that? It was a drunk driving accident type of situation. And it allows you to discuss things in real time, instantly. I think that's the power of what we're talking about, whether it's Facebook Rooms, whether it's Google Meet, Zoom, or using something like StreamYard or
I can't sleep.
Yeah.
Sorry, I've got to, hold on.
Yeah, no worries. No worries.
My mom stopped by to see me.
In real life. Oh, have her.
So you wouldn't get that if we were recorded, right? Like only live.
You wouldn't get that. You wouldn't get that.
No, it's my buddy Mitch. And
yeah, no, we're good. You can tell her to say hi if she wants to.
You can say hi if you want to, they said.
Absolutely.
Put it on full screen a minute, Mitch, so everybody can see her.
I will. Well, I'll try.
How are you?
That's as good as I can do. Hi, Mom. How you doing?
So she can't hear because it's on the earphones. I don't have it on the speakers, so yeah, that's the only thing.
Okay.
I love that. That is awesome.
I'm buying it.
Well, Mitch, one of my favorite things about going live is it proves that you're an actual expert, right? Because if you're going to take a question live, you better have a good answer, because you can put out social media and content and look it up ahead of time. And I'm not accusing anybody of faking it or anything, but like that's easy, right? Mm-hmm. I can do my homework and make a video explaining the answer to a question, but to do it on the fly, you have to actually know what you're talking about and actually have expertise. Exactly. And that's one reason I like it being recorded, is so that, I can get some value by replaying it later for people who don't have the convenience of being there at the time that you are live. So there is some inconvenience factors to being live if you're at a regular job, or time zone differences and all those things. But yeah, you have to be good to go live and take real questions.
But that's why I love doing my interviews. I really don't want to know you in depth. Like when I interview you for the first time, I would rather, because that's a neat way to create the questions. As I'm getting to know you, Chris, now I'm asking questions, and now that's recorded. You know what I mean? As opposed to, hey, we met at the bar and we had that conversation, but what was, I got to message you a week later. What was that we said about that website, Chris? You know, now I don't. It's recorded. We have it on there.
Yep.
Can I ask you guys a question? Because I've got some people on Twitter and over on Periscope. I think that's where these questions are coming. How long did it take each one of you to get comfortable on live video? Like the first time you hit the go live button?
Still not comfortable on live video. I still hate it.
There came a point in time where you're like, okay, the risk benefit, there's an upside to this. And Tim, you were live all the time on some of these platforms, but how long is it going to take most people before they're comfortable with doing this kind of stuff? What do you guys think?
You know, to me, the greatest thing about it was if I had my druthers, and I said this at my event last weekend, I would rather stay in my house, type it out, and print it on a website. Truthfully, that's what I would rather do.
It's so boring.
I know it is. It's boring, but that's what I would rather do. I'd rather be creating books. I don't want to be on live stream. It's just not what I like. However, my audience loves when I get on screen. So when I realized that's what my audience want, I got comfortable with it real quick. It's because not what Tim wants, it's what Tim's audience wants.
Ooh, that's an important thing to understand. How about you, Chris? How long did it take?
Well, I used to do like presentations way back, and I remember being scared to death to talk to like 8 people about the features of our new drills that were coming out at the company I worked for. I was like memorizing things on little note cards, like 6-foot cords, like 3.2 amps, keyless chuck. Like, and now I'm like, whatever, give me the tool. Like, let's go talk to anybody about it. And then I became kind of a public speaker by accident, because in the Amazon world, I was so early on some of this FBA stuff. So at these conferences, they're like, hey, can you be our keynote speaker and talk about FBA? Because nobody knew about it. And I was like, and at the time I was a software provider. So I was like, wait a minute, if I'm the keynote speaker and the software provider, yes, absolutely, I'll get up on that. I didn't know what I was doing. I was kind of scared to death, but I was like, people are going to know who I am, and I'll be able to sell a lot more software. Mm-hmm. And then that was all before live video came out. So then it's like, yeah, just go live. And the things I think about, if I had to like coach anybody about like getting started, it's like, what's the upside and what's the downside, right? The downside is what? None. Like, you do 100 shows and you're still not comfortable. Who cares, right? What's the upside? There's immense, incredible potential upside. So you're doing yourself a disservice if you don't at least try it. And I say first is worst. So the first live stream you do will be your absolute worst. It'll be glitchy. It'll probably have a bumpy camera because you're walking around. The sound will be bad. The connection will be slow. But then you'll get better at it. And by the 10th, 20th, 30th time you do it, you're gonna be like, oh, this is a piece of cake. And you're going to find that people like you. Like, we're all afraid that people are like looking at us and like looking to point out flaws and all these things. And they really aren't. Like, look at yourself. Like, none of us here would go out and be like, hey, I saw someone do their first show. You know what the first thing I did? I commented about how much they sucked. No, we would never do that. But we're afraid of these people. And if you actually meet someone like that, good, you've identified them, cut them out of your life and move on, because you'll get feedback and people say, hey, that actually wasn't, I couldn't hear you at this point. Maybe pick up a better microphone. That's not negativity. That's feedback. That's like, oh, you're right. I should get a better microphone. And then, just give your audience what they want. But you also have to understand the world that we live in. People don't consume only print on blogs. So even if you want to do that, Tim, like, hey, I'd rather do it this way, but I understand the world. I understand the way that people consume content. So I'm going to give it to them in that way because I have a message that I want to get out there.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Tim.
You're so right with that. I mean, I remember my first podcast I ever did, audio. And I can tell you the 6 people who listened live: my mom, my Aunt Jean, my cousin Cindy, my brother Nathan, my brother. I mean, come on. They've seen every mistake I've ever made in my freaking life. And I'm scared to go out and broadcast. Nobody's going to see that. Go find my first one. You won't find it.
You should bring it up as an example. Like, put it out there. It's like, guys, I've done this. I've been there. Look, this is how bad it was at the beginning. And if I can do it, you can do it. No one likes to hear about, I'm Tim and I'm the best and I never make mistakes and I'm perfect and I make so much money. And no one wants to hear that. They want to hear, I'm Tim. And you know what? I messed up too. And I did this and I lost big time here. And I made this huge mistake. That's what they connect with, right? Like, it's almost better to fail. Like, you should fail on purpose just so you have something.
It's the lawyer's disclaimer. Sure, the lawyer's disclaimer, and all of a sudden now they want to hear from you.
The human being, being a human being, being a normal person disclaimer. Here's the thing, though. When I talk to lawyers about going live, okay, put the legal side of things aside. Disclaimers, no legal advice, all that kind of stuff, which is important, right? Mm-hmm. But the videos that all of us relate to, that we like to watch, that intrigue us, that capture our attention, they're videos that show the human side of something. They're not perfect, right? Think about you guys, think about the audience, not Tim and Chris, but think about the videos you like to watch or listen to, whether it's on your phone or you're ready to call it a night, you're laying down in bed. It's usually something that's happening that's not polished. It's not perfect. It's just real. Somebody's communicating something to you. And those are the videos I think that really resonate online and on social media. And if you're a professional where you're used to being perfect and spit and polish because that's the way you think you need to come across, things have changed. Mm-hmm. Things have changed forever. And it's not what works. That's not what connects us as human beings. I didn't throw a suit and tie on to do this video, right? It is what it is. And it's my surfing shirt and it's just what I do. But it's like, give yourself permission to be real, to be imperfect, to share value, to be unique, to be yourself. You guys, real quick, because I didn't know, I had some things I wanted to go over this is so relevant to what we're talking about. Do you guys know Chris Lema? Have you guys seen my interviews with Chris Lema, Lema?
I haven't, no.
All right, so I've interviewed him in my mastermind over the last couple of weeks in the mastermind, and then 2 weeks ago at the Wednesday night legal marketing.live. Chris is a programmer, a WordPress expert, genius level IQ, just brilliant human being, but he also is a storyteller. And he's such a good storyteller that I actually purchased last week his storytelling course because I know how good Chris is. But the reason I'm bringing this up, you guys, is I'm going to show you 7 tips for telling stories on Zoom. And I interviewed Chris and we had some talking points. And when you guys are doing interviews, you don't want to write out everything. It's like an opening statement or closing argument. You want to have some talking points and then have a real conversation. Play off of your guests, play off of your audience, and make it a real conversation. But I want to show you guys this, and I'm going to go through it real quick. Let me see. I actually wrote down for Zoom these 7 bullet points, okay? And let me just real quick. I know you can't see it all from there, but I'm just walking my talk. When you guys are doing live video like we're talking about, okay, one of the things is when you're speaking from stage, if you've got someone across your desk, you're in control of the conversation. You can rely upon timing and audience or client reactions. Okay, when you're doing live video, oftentimes you don't get the same reactions and timing and responses that you would in real time. People will sit there and they'll listen. Even if they love what you're saying, sometimes they don't want to get in the way. They don't want to distract from the conversation. They'll just sit there and listen, right? And so you have to understand that you can't rely on timing and you can't rely on reactions in live video. You need to bring it. You need to be the one having energy, bringing your message, setting the tone, right? Like what I'm trying to do right now. Number 2, you want to bring the energy, which is what we just talked about. Number 3, don't use a script. This is live. There's no script today, right? I just went live, you guys, and was hoping some friends would stop in, and I've got a ton of stuff I want to share with everybody. Number 4, invite your audience into the story. Invite your audience into the story. Ask open-ended questions. Get them to share their stories, their tips, their approaches. Ask them, look, right here. I'm walking my talk. Let me see. Join me live. I'm inviting you guys to come into the conversation. Just message me and I'll shoot you the link. Focus on and understand the appreciation that one of our anchors right now is what you see. It's our face and our background. Pay attention to where you're positioned in the video feed. Pay attention to what's in the background. Pay attention to everything, the overlays that I'm using. Everyone's name is displayed. Pay attention to that stuff. Connect emotionally. Be emotional. Use animation. Understand that when you smile, people like to see smiles, right? They want to see a real smile. And explain yourself. And like Tim and I talked about those 5 points, those 5 approaches to communication. When you have a live video, you guys take the time to explain the process. Don't jump from step 1 to step 5. Tell stories, slow down, which I wasn't doing a good job doing, and explain stuff. I'm telling you guys, Chris went through this, and the recorded video is at the Wednesday night show, and I'll put it up for everyone in the comments. But it was so powerful. I have friends who have been trying cases for 20 or 30 years who are like, Mitch, that was so good. So good. And I think all of us can use that when we're doing our live videos, when we're doing our keynote presentations, when we're sitting across the desk from a new potential marketing or law client. There's ways, one of the things that jumped out at me, you guys, I thought was super powerful was how good storytellers will sometimes start their story in the middle or at the end. Okay. And then they'll go back and share how they got there. Mm-hmm. And the other thing they'll do is they'll tell a story through someone's eyes. If the 3 of us were at a restaurant and something happened, if I said, look, put yourself in Chris's shoes. Here he is sitting there, and this is what happened. As opposed to put yourself in Tim's shoes. He was standing over there, and let me tell you what Tim watched happen next. It gives a completely different perspective to the same story. Mm-hmm. And if you understand these storytelling techniques, whether you're in court or on a live video, it can make the difference between entertaining and engaging. And if you're selling something, closing that deal, to having people swipe, tap, or click away. So I just wanted to bring that up because Chris's stuff is really, really good, you guys. So.
I don't know Chris personally. I don't know him personally, but I follow Bo Eason. You guys know Bo Eason? Former football player, speaker, author of the one-man show on Broadway. Really great storyteller. And if you ever get to see Bo Eason speak,
I will.
He takes the stage and starts in the middle of a story.
There you go.
And all of a sudden you're glued. You can't stop listening to him because you're like, okay, how did we get here? Yeah. How did we get here? Yeah. And I want to find out what's going to happen now that now I figured out how we got here. Great. What happens next? You can't leave. Bo Eason's the master. And I assume it's the same thing you said with Chris there,
Does he have a YouTube channel where we can watch
Bo
Eason?
Look at, I'm going to try to see if I can't find him. I know he's on Facebook, but I'm not friends with him. So
I will see if I can find it. Let me just show you guys Chris's stuff real quick. So this is the Wednesday night show that we went through earlier. And down at the bottom, you guys, I have past shows. Chris Lima, Ryan Foland, Harlan Schillinger, Stephanie Liu. But let me just see if this comes up.
Is Stephanie on? Oh, I want to get Stephanie on the show.
Stephanie was one of my first. She was my first guest. So this is Chris right here. And the shows are all recorded on the different platforms. But I got to tell you, you guys, it was pretty special, as are all the guests. And yes, I started everything off with Stephanie, of course. Got to start with Stephanie. She was.
Wait a minute. In the real world, all right. We're older. We can remember the old Paul Harvey. But have you ever heard Mike Rowe's podcast?
Is that
the way? Yeah, like the way it's like the way I heard it, or the way it's a storytelling podcast, almost like Paul Harvey's the rest of the story. That's my coffee in the morning. Go to podcast, listen. All right. And Mike Rowe, first of all, Mike Rowe's got a voice that everybody wants to hear. First of all, but
this is the Dirty Jobs.
The Dirty Jobs guy. Yeah. And it's Mike Rowe's podcast. I think it's called The Way I Heard It. So I'm gonna look it up here real quick because it's my morning listen to now. Every morning I listen to an episode, but The Way I Heard It is his podcast.
The Way I Heard It. So yeah, I'll try to bring it up, you guys, if I can. Yeah, I mean, usually when you've got someone with an acting background that understands production, I think people underutilize and don't really appreciate the production aspect of everything that's done. Mm-hmm. What makes a good YouTube video is really, the video is important, but the production aspect of it, Casey Neistat will tell you, that's where he spends his time, is in the production side of things. 3 experts that I brought into Legal Minds in my mastermind have been Sean Cannell, Roberto Blake, and Sonny Leonarduzzi. And they talk about the production side of what they're doing. I mean, it's just, it's huge. Funny story with Mike Rowe, though. So my daughter's interning for Brian Elliott, who had Linked OC down here in Orange County, and he was up in LA. This is her first, I think it was her first or second summer job as an intern. She gets back from LA and I said, AJ, how'd your day go? She goes, Dad, it was really cool. I met 3 really interesting people that we interviewed today. And I said, really, who'd you meet? And she goes, well, the first person I met was LeVar Burton from Roots and some of the other shows. And he was fascinating. And then I met a gentleman, Mike Rowe, that's got the show Dirty Jobs. Mm-hmm. And that was, he was really nice, really cool, fascinating. Loved his voice, just like you said, Tim, awesome voice. She goes, but Dad, there's one gentleman that really stood out that we had lunch together. He has a daughter that's my age that I really enjoyed hanging out with. And his name's David Merriman Scott, who we talked about earlier. And I said, hey, Jay, I read David's books. We follow each other on Twitter. And that's, how it jumped out. But having said that, one of the things that she will tell you today, and she's a first-year lawyer. She just passed the bar. She just started her legal career up in Century City in Los Angeles. They're all working from home now. Is she goes, Dad, all 3 of these guys were great at telling stories. Like they knew how to set up what we've been talking about. Mm-hmm. They know the answer. They could give you the answer like this, but they're not going to give it to you that quickly. Right? They're gonna let it marinate a little bit, get your interest, get you emotionally involved. And then if you've got the voice to do it, like Mike Rowe does, then that's special.
You like a nice, calming British accent. That really helps.
It does.
Very trusting accent.
Do you guys like your voices on
I
podcast?
hate my voice. I hate my voice.
Do you like the way you guys sound?
I like the way I sound in my head. I don't like listening to the replays. The replays, like, that's not me. That's not.
I know that's the same thing. Replays, I'm like, that's not.
Yeah. Real talk. I feel the same way, and it's something that you just get over it, right?
Yeah, I just had to get over it. Yeah.
You know about it, right? Just not doing it.
It's interesting. So for those of you watching and you don't like how you look, you don't like how you sound, it just doesn't matter.
Everybody feels the same way. Yeah. Hey, Mitch, I have to run. I got a live training that I need to get set up for, but I do have one more idea for you based on what I am doing. So I am trying to solve a problem that I'm having right here because I am writing down all of these names. I'm like, who's this Bella Vasta? Who's this Chris Lima guy? Who's this Bo Easton?
Oh, yeah.
I'm writing these things down because I want to look them up later and I don't have time to open up all the new tabs. So I'm thinking maybe something you want to do for your audience is to start putting in a link to say like a show notes link, especially if you're going live, you don't know where things are going to go. Just keep little notes and be like, hey guys, I know we talked about a lot of things, mentioned a lot of people. Don't worry about writing stuff down. If you want the show notes of all the links that we talked about, please just sign up here. And, I don't know how in depth you want to get, like just saving them with a little scratch pad or actually hiring somebody because, we're here at 2 hours and 16 minutes. I'm not sure how many people are going to watch a full 2 hour and 16-minute replay. It might not be everybody, but to go through 2 hours to get these 5 names, probably not make a lot of sense. But hey, I can just sign up for Mitch's show notes, and then even if I'm not live, I'm going to get the links that were important enough to write down. Yeah, totally.
So powerful. So powerful. Look, here's the thing. When you guys are planning ahead to produce a show, I just showed some overlays. Like I would take the time to share the link, the overlay, include the link, like something like this. Okay, for each of the people that I talked about. I was just winging it today, Chris. But what I'm going to try to do, because if you have this question, then I'm sure other people do too. And I will do my best to share the links to all of these great resources, including the 2 of you. I mean, I appreciate you guys coming on, and this has been awesome. This is what I like about live videos. Sometimes you guys, you don't know. Chris, I know you have to run. Okay, so
yeah, we'll connect again later. Tim, great to meet you here.
See you, Chris.
See you guys.
It's hard for me to stop talking.
I know. I get the same way.
But that's one of the fun things about live videos. I actually was planning on, I'm just going to jump on and just keep this thing going. And I can tell you though, I've got family sticking their head in the door. So I think probably I'm about ready to get the hook. But Tim, thank you, sir. I really appreciate you coming on and keeping me company. That's awesome.
It was fun. Just totally unplanned for, and it was fun.
So do you have, you may have mentioned this earlier, but do you have a weekly show or a monthly show that
I am right now I don't have it scheduled weekly. All right. But we're working on getting it weekly. And that's that Tim Gillette show where I interview people, and I usually do about 25 to 30 as a season. And this season we're planning out right now is 25 people who are leaders in their industry and how they handle tough times, and then giving advice on tough times.
Interesting.
And that's Tim Gillette show, my Tim Gillette show. But I gave earlier, if you wanted to be on the show, at timgilletteshow.com, we'll take you there eventually. But it's Tim Gillette show on everything, iTunes and everything like that. So.
Well, I would love to be on the show because my perspective is to be proactive and help do everything we can, but to be proactive in business. And one of the things, Tim, we did that might be an interesting topic is for your audience members to think about what is a need right now that I can help people with and take it into the digital or virtual environment. So for example, all of our mediation and settlement services are closed down, just like the courthouse. And what lawyers do is we'll go in and we'll hire a retired judge or an experienced trial lawyer to help us settle a case. I'm in one conference room with my client. The other side's in another conference room with their client, and the mediator goes back and forth and tries to help us get the case settled. And I say most of the time they're successful experiences. And there are private companies that do all this, but they're physical companies. So what we did in weekend number 1, it took me 1 day on a Saturday, is we set up a virtual mediation service, a new department in the law firm where parties using Zoom, but really any quality video service would probably work. I have multiple Zooms going on where I'm going back and forth with one side and then the other as the private mediator. And I'd reach out to friends of mine with law firms and say, listen, this is something that we're doing if you're interested. Now, here's the thing, Tim, you and I are used to live video, so we know how all this works. And the initial feedback was, well, I don't want to be, I don't want to have my client come into the office. I certainly don't want to drive down to a court reporting service and be in the same conference room with my client right now. It's just too dangerous. I'm like, no, you don't understand. You could be not only at your office, you could be at home on the couch with a white shirt and a tie on and your pajama bottoms on. Your client could be 120 miles away at their home.
Yeah.
Opposing counsel could be in New York. We're bringing everyone together in a secured Zoom environment. Multiple Zooms is what I think is going to work best. And they didn't realize that you could do this. And and so it's just something new that, along with some other ideas that we've rolled out, trying to be proactive. And I think almost everyone in your audience, there's something that can be done today, this week, next month, right? And it's just a matter of maybe getting a little encouragement, planting a few seeds, and moving forward. So yeah, I would love to. I'm all over this stuff. I enjoy this. If you guys listen, before we wrap up, if you guys want to stay connected. Let me see. Boom. With Tim Gillette, see how my finger's working there. I don't know if that's working. obviously it's mirrored, you guys. Sorry about that.
It's weird.
So weird, even after all these years, some of my software mirrors and reverses the mirror, so I'm not sure which one I'm doing. You guys stay connected with Tim. It sounds like he's doing a lot of exciting, good stuff. So he's been here since day one on live video. And if you guys want to stay connected with me, just jump over to mitch.social. Those are most of my social media platforms. Our Wednesday night show, you can watch it on all the platforms. It's WednesdayNightLegalMarketing.live, but we do push and engage primarily at the Facebook group, MitchJackson.live. So join us there. I've got some great guests coming up. But Tim, thank you, sir. I hope the rest of your day goes well and that you have a good weekend.
Okay, my friend, I'm going to. You too, man.
All right, tell your mom thanks for stopping by and gracing us with her beauty. We appreciate it.
You bet, man.
All right, see you.
All right, talk to you later.
Bye, everybody. Take care.